I'm your host, Alex Jones, and we're going to be covering the shock testimony that's expected from Benghazi witnesses. A fourth whistleblower has been blocked from testifying. National security now publicly used to protect the criminal government. Senator says the dam is about to break. Operation Smear already underway. Former UN ambassador from the U.S., Bolton, says this could bring down the administration. Really, you think so? And Cheney rips leadership, Hillary in spotlight. And the Benghazi hearings are now underway. We are going to be monitoring this entire situation, and obviously DrudgeReport.com is going to be monitoring it, but Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.com are going to be on it. We're going to be grabbing clips of this as it unfolds. In fact, do you guys have the audio potted in where you can feed that Benghazi hearing in right now? Perhaps we should do that. We'll do that in just a moment. And again, we'll continue to cover all of this. This is the exact time that the globalist could stage some type of false flag or war like they're trying to do in Syria to distract away from what happened in Benghazi, where there was a stand down for 8 hours with Predator drones overhead and a CIA torture base down the street. Why was there a stand down? They wanted him dead. They wanted something covered up. It wasn't just, oh, we don't want to have a fight with our al-Qaeda security forces that have double-crossed us. It's so embarrassing. They don't care. They'd say, Obama did a great job taking out al-Qaeda. They'd already taken over Libya. This was covering up the arms transfers that individual had been over. In fact, let's get Pachenik on tomorrow. I want to get his take just for like 15, 20 minutes. Maybe just have Lord Monckton on for 30, cut him down to 30, because I want to look at UKIP's victories in England. But we've also got one of the heads of UKIP coming on, Mr. Bloom. I want to get Pachenik to pop in, get his take on all of this. So we're going to be following all of this today. Let's go ahead and go to some of the hearing right now.
There's sometimes the hesitancy to not
Mark Thompson
deploy because we don't know what's going on.
As the acting department secretary,
of a crisis
says
is
the
you don't know
Secretary of
what's going
State
to happen in 2 hours.
Counterterrorism.
So you need to help develop that situation early.
It was 8 hours.
We have a robust comms suite on the airplane that we are transported on. It is ably flown by my SOCOM colleagues.
Let's stop right there. All these guys ever do is thank all their colleagues. We get it. We'll give you a red carpet, bro. How about red toilet paper? You're so royal. Okay? A red diaper. But, you know, seriously, I mean, it's not enough to have white toilet paper. They got to have red toilet paper. Because they're gods. They walk upon the stars. That's where the whole Greek idea of the red carpet for the gods and the red carpet for the lords. And it's just, again, Graham's like, this could bring them down. We had total system failure. Ooh, that's what Senator Graham says is coming out. And so far, it sounds like whitewash city. But we'll find out. I mean, are these brave whistleblowers? Maybe. But get to the meat of it. Okay, we know there were aircraft all over the place, over the Med, 30, 40 miles away, over, 10,000, 20,000 feet in the air, over this in Benghazi. We know what went on. So let's go back to it briefly.
That works for the chief of mission, and I can't emphasize that enough. We are not there to subsume any activities. The experts on the team know that the real experts are in the embassy, and they work for the chief of mission to do that. My time is drawing to a close. I'll end there and await your questions.
Thank you. Mr. Hicks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. We really will have to, you're pretty soft spoke, and get it a little closer.
I'll try to get this up here. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Ranking Member.
We're going to go to break and come back with more of this, but the first person to testify says he blames her.
I'm Darren McBreen, and these are some of the new items that are available now at InfoWarsShop.com.
Alert the public to Obama's blatant abuse of power with the new Obama t-shirt. Obama's Joker face on the front and come and take it on the back. It's time to publicly call him out for what he is, a tyrant. Defend the Second Amendment with our top seller Come and Take It t-shirts. And look at that, women's cut tank tops and t-shirts now available. Nice hat. plus the Don't Tread on Me flag. And now you can become a micro distributor of the InfoWars magazine. Plus, get your own copy delivered right to your door each and every month. And if you're tired like I am of you and your family being exposed to polluted drinking water, get the Pro One high-performance water filter. It gets rid of all pathogenic bacteria, cyst, fluoride, heavy metals, and numerous other contaminants.
So join the revolution at InfoWarsShop.com.
All right, where to start? Obviously, the Benghazi testimony has begun, and they are expected to criticize the administration and say that they dropped the ball. And Cheney is ripping the leadership, saying they dropped the ball. Senator Graham is ripping the leadership, saying that Obama dropped the ball. Obama didn't drop the ball, or whoever controls him, whoever's running things, whoever ordered the stand down, did an excellent job exterminating those people and covering up the heat-seeking missiles that were transferred. There's the headline. Dick Cheney slams Obama administration's Benghazi performance as a failure of leadership. I cannot understand why they weren't ready as you sat in the Pentagon with a stand down on 9/11, or you sat in the Pentagon war room under the White House. Does the order still stand, sir? It's 50 miles out. It's 30 miles out. It's 20 miles out, sir. It's 10 miles out. Does the order still stand? Yes, the order still stands. Did someone tell you otherwise? That's been testified before Congress by the former Transportation Secretary and others. And our reporters have talked to Mineta, and he confirmed that indeed that's what went on. So it's just incredible. All these guys are globalist frontmen, but Obama is the guy turbocharging the takeover. Obama on open borders, on internet taxes, on warrantless wiretapping, which they're already doing. Now Obama is in the New York Times going, yeah, no more Fourth Amendment to keep you safe. I'll use executive orders to take your guns. I'll use executive orders to spy on everything you're doing. The big threat is libertarians and conservatives. Libertarians and conservatives are seen as the real populist. We are the group that's under attack. But the average liberal in the street, because I talk to them, if they're informed, is a good person who's a real liberal like Thomas Jefferson. And they know Obama is an authoritarian. The problem is the trendy liberals, and you've seen us interview them, you've seen Mark Dice interview them, 90+% of them say ban all the guns, put libertarians in FEMA camps, have forced abortions, bring in authoritarian rule if Obama does it. If you say give Obama dictatorial power, they will say yes, give Obama dictatorial power. I'm going to send my reporters back out in Austin and say, to keep the children safe, should we let Obama have a third term and be given dictatorial power? Or to fix the budget deficit for Obamacare, should we have after-birth abortion, post-birth abortion? And I guarantee you, we'll probably get 80% of Austinites if we go to UT, if we go to the trendy areas. Now, if you went to a hard-working blue-collar area with conservatives and libertarians, or if you went to north of Austin or south of Austin, you'd probably get punched in the nose half the time. I mean, if Mark Dice did what he did in California here in let's say, Dripping Springs, Texas, out in the country, and of course, Mark said this himself, he'd get punched in the nose. You walk with somebody and say, I'm going to search your backpack without a warrant. I'm with the Obama Citizen Volunteer Force, and you kept pushing somebody going, no, I'm going to search you. You'd get punched in the nose. You definitely get shoved. So we can't recreate that here in Austin because there's still some Americans left where I live in Texas. Or just human beings that have any common sense. So we're going to be getting into all that. I'm getting Adam Kokesh on at the bottom of the hour briefly. The police chief of the District of Criminals, who looks like a comic book bad guy out of a, she's like he looks like a third world general outfit, but it's beyond that. It's like a Judge Dredd outfit, and it's another Janet Reno type, another, I guess, from the same cloning tank that they get Big Sis and Janet Reno and Alberto Gonzalez, and that's a male version of Janet Napolitano and Michelle Maddow, or Rachel Maddow, or whatever his name is. The point is that you've got all this stuff going on, and they're saying if you try to walk across the bridge with guns, we're going to arrest everybody. And she says it with this power-tripping smile while she's festooned in a costume with a gun on her hip. Hey, I look like a crazy witch. I can have a gun. You can't, scum. I get to have security. You don't. I don't care if the Supreme Court 4 years ago in 2008 overturned what we do. We don't let anybody be armed here now, sucker, except our criminal gang. And again, people can, I mean, I'd say 60% of people are either scared or upset at Kokesh. And it's the timidness of this country. You know, to have an armed march on the Capitol, the White House. I have mixed feelings about it, but they have the right to do it. What the D.C. is doing is illegal. I can only admire the courage. I haven't done it because discretion, I believe, is the greater part of valor. I'm willing to go get arrested, get a weapons charge, make a famous court case out of it. But I've chosen to try to full-time fight on all these different fronts. But I have to still, you know, not cop out here and say Adam Kokesh has got a lot of courage. Some people are saying he's got to be a provocateur, blah, blah, blah. Jones is a provocateur, you know, promoting this. I'm not promoting it. I said, if you go, you should go with the camera as an observer, and that's what I said. So that's what will stop there being a provocateur setup. That's what will stop them from trying to pull something really nasty, is if we have thousands of people there with cameras. I have said I support his right to do it. I admire it at a certain animal level, but at the same time, I think it's a bad idea. Just like Lou Rockwell says. I don't go as far as Lou Rockwell saying, well, they can blame us for something. They could, you know, twist things. That's what they're going to do anyways. I get Kokesh's point about, hey, don't use the thing if we can't have guns because somebody might do something wrong with them. I get all that. By the way, as these testimonies unfold, we'll give you the latest from Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.com, and you know who's all over it, second by second with all his reporters and researchers, Matt Drudge. So, you know, as we're out there watching it, the guys are watching it, their thumbs up. It's more just thanking everybody and saying there was a failure and that the leadership failed, which is still a big deal, but it's a total whitewash. There was a stand down. There was a stand down. Let me say it again. There was a stand down. And we saw that in the press yesterday, that whistleblowers are set to testify that there's going to be a stand down. Guess what? I predicted on air, not hard to predict. It's like predicting that, you know, if you leave a big thing of honey out in a Colorado campsite, that a bear is going to come up and try to eat it if you're out there long enough. Or if you jump in a tank full of piranhas and cut yourself, they're going to probably attack you. It's not a hard prediction. I said the real whistleblowers are going to go tell Congress quietly, the staff, what they're going to testify about. That's going to be fed back by double agents to the globalists, to Obama, and then they're going to be threatened and ordered not to testify. And there you go. Fourth Benghazi witness gagged by red tape. So I now understand why you're going to hear a whitewash out of anybody that testifies, because they're being told, you know what, you're going to get indicted for violations of national security. See, they now use whistleblower laws, anti-whistleblower garbage, to go after whistleblowers. I mean, if you report on crimes, robbery in government, if you report on your superior at the ATF shipping guns to Mexican drug cartels and being paid to do it, you will be indicted. If you, as a newspaper reporter, report on government-connected banks laundering money, you will be indicted. If you report on the government protecting al-Qaeda and you're a CIA asset, the FBI will come and arrest you, and you will serve 13 months in prison. Now, Shebelle Edmonds, she went public and broke her gag order before Obama came in. And she's so public and has already released her info, they haven't arrested her. What they do is when you release a little bit and then try to shop a book deal or whatever, because, you know, you're going to have a job in government now, you need that money. You have a hit book, you know, you might make $500,000. Sounds like a lot. Hey, you got 10 more years in government service. You've lost your pension fund now. You need that money. They're not shopping books because they're, you know, bad people. They're shopping books because they've, you know, well, if I'm going to go all the way and tell the truth instead of selling out, you sell out and lie, you get promoted. I better shop a book. And while you're shopping that book, that information's all being given to the government. I know, ladies and gentlemen. I know. And so this is the type of stuff that is going on. And so you're just going to hear they dropped the ball, they screwed up. That's all I can tell you because I'm not allowed to tell you. In fact, let's fade back up the report and go out to break with it, and I'll come back with all the big news. Big Second Amendment, big economic, big immigration news. It's all coming up, but let's go ahead and fade up the...
Early in the morning at the annex, about a couple miles away. And then, of course, there's how did the White House respond to this when it became clear that this was a terrorist attack, these officials saying that they knew it immediately. The White House pushed back on that, suggested this was a spontaneous protest as a result of that anti-Muslim video. So there are a lot
Let's
of
stop right there.
here,
That's enough. We'll come back with more. Yeah. You got 8 hours of people launching rockets and using anti-aircraft artillery on the ground, firing, large caliber. I mean, we're talking stuff 4 or 5 times bigger than 50 cal. Hand grenades into it. It's on fire. There's a base less than a mile away. They order them to stand down. And they're like, it isn't a terror attack. And then we never said it wasn't a terror attack. It was a terror attack. Remember that? And you're like, you said it wasn't a terror attack. Remember all those mind games? We're not buying bullets. We're not buying armored vehicles. There's no FEMA camps. Really, here's the Army manual, declassified. It says in FEMA camp, Re-Education Center for Political Dissidents. It says Re-Education Camp. I'm not calling it that. It says it. That doesn't exist, crazy man. Army.mil. Okay, nutball. I had tried everything. I'd cut back the amount of food I was eating. I was lifting weights and jogging, but nothing was working. My body was literally starving for minerals and trace elements as well as key vitamins. And as soon as I had that, I immediately could eat half of what I was eating previously and be satisfied. Now, there are hundreds of great products at InfoWarsTeam.com, but I want to point out the 3 that have helped me lose 37 pounds in just 2 months. Products like Beyond Tangy Tangerine, Pollen Burst, and Rebound. When I started taking the Tangy Tangerine and other products every day, I lost more than 37 pounds in just 2 months. Now that's results. I want to challenge my listeners to go to InfoWarsTeam.com and to order just 3 of their products, and you will see the changes in the way you look, feel, and in your appetite almost immediately. Start your journey to health and wellness today. InfoWarsTeam.com. All right, we'll continue to cover the Benghazi whitewash. Oh, they didn't know. They screwed up. They said it was a protest. They've got Predator drones over it with people launching grenades and rolling up truck-carried anti-aircraft guns, firing into the building for hour after hour after hour with CENTCOM off the coast on aircraft carriers, watching all of it in infrared and high-def video. This is the type of stuff, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about, and I will not be sucked into this big distraction. I mean, I think it's important to cover it, but to educate people how it's nothing but a giant distraction and a protest. I mean, remember how we were conspiracy theorists? We were in the news days after it happened saying it was not a protest over the Muhammad video that it turns out was connected to federal informants. I predicted it would be federal minions that put that out. It always is. I could take one look at it and see who produced it because I've seen it over and over again. It's like I can see a part of a movie on TV and go, I bet Jerry Bruckheimer made this. I'll search engine it. Yeah, it's Jerry Bruckheimer. Or who made this movie? You know, I'll be in a hotel room or my wife will put something on TV, at home, and I'll go, this is a Steven Spielberg movie. I bet. Let me search it. I'll search it on the iPad. Steven Spielberg. I've learned. And they go, oh, it was a protest. And I knew that was them because when they attacked Libya, it was called a protest. When they bombed it, when NATO bombed it, when Obama bombed it, it was a protest. And I got on air and said, it's not a protest when you're bombing major cities with hundreds of flights a day and helicopters coming in. And now we're 26, 7 months into the protest in Syria. And the West, for the whole time, has been giving armaments to al-Qaeda. Just now, U.S. to start arming Syrian rebels shortly, says the Republican-ranking member of the United States Senate Foreign Relations Committee. It's kind of like they announced yesterday in the Wall Street Journal and Bloomberg, oh, guess what? Cadillac and Volt are moving to China. They already opened factories years ago in China. When General Motors had to sign an agreement to move more factories, not just parts factories, but the actual factories to China with the federal government. Okay, GM, you want to be federalized, you want taxpayer money, you've got to move to China, Brazil, and Eastern Europe. And I saw comments on InfoWars yesterday going, why aren't you covering that GM just moved to China? Why don't you talk about offshoring, you piece of filth? Again, I apologize. I've only made films about it. Fall of the Republic covers it. We actually read the GM agreement. They're going to move more than half of GM. They've already moved about half of that. They've already moved a quarter out. They're going to move the other quarter out of the country. They're moving General Motors out of the country to be built by Foxconn-type robots right next to the Apple slave factories. Oh, the people were already cheap. The people were already worthless. The people were already garbage, but now they're not even needed. Life isn't cheap now. It's obsolete. But in the world of mindless idiots, they can get away with this. There is a key article, document cam please, and I want to show this on screen coming up more when Adam Kokesh is on with us. This is a Zero Hedge article at Infowars.com. And it says, Americans convinced gun homicides soar despite actual plunge. This needs to get out to everyone, everywhere, now. And we added to it some of our numbers crunched by our office, Melissa Melton and others in here. She has a degree, I guess, in stats. 49% drop. I saw him say that on Fox, and I was like, I thought it was only 20-something, but we went and did the numbers on FBI.gov. 49% drop in violent crime since 1991. And here it is, in yet another example of the massive gap between the American people's perception of what is going on around them, whether by propaganda channels or simply cognitive bias, and the actual reality. Reuters reports that while gun-related homicides are down 39%, that's gun. That's just gun from its peak in 93. Only 12% of American people believe that gun crimes have fallen. Yeah. Non-fatal firearm crimes declined by 69%. And 56% of Americans believe that gun crime is higher now than it was 20 years ago. That's Pew Research. And then they've got from the Department of Justice, they have to admit it, but this will get no publication. Guns are saving America. I had tried everything. I'd cut back the amount of food I was eating. I was lifting weights and jogging, but nothing was working. My body was literally starving for minerals and trace elements as well as key vitamins. And as soon as I had that, I immediately could eat half of what I was eating previously and be satisfied. Now, there are hundreds of great products at InfoWarsTeam.com, but I want to point out the 3 that have helped me lose 37 pounds in just 2 months. Products like Beyond Tangy Tangerine, Pollen Burst, and Rebound. When I started taking the Tangy Tangerine and other products every day, I lost more than 37 pounds in just 2 months. Now that's results. I want to challenge my listeners to go to InfoWarsTeam.com and to order just 3 of their products, and you will see the changes in the way you look, feel, and in your appetite almost immediately. Start your journey to health and wellness today. InfoWarsTeam.com. Ladies and gentlemen, this is just torture. I am tempted to carry this feed live off of C-SPAN because CNN and other channels were just obviously ordered to move away from the live Benghazi coverage. This is big bombshell breaking news. I've got computers and TVs on all over the office. So as I'm walking around going over more news, I am hearing and seeing what happened. They have Gregory Hicks of the State Department on right now. Go get the feed guy. They've got internet feeds right in there. And he starts talking about, and I got to say, I'm eating crow here. I said it was a whitewash, and they've been ordered to shut up. I guess these guys are patriots, and he looks concerned when he's talking. And he said, listen, they had C-130s ordered to stand down. They had aircraft. They said it was 2 hours. That's not true. you know, this is a war zone. We had the aircraft there. They had predators with weapons on them right above it who could have taken these guys out. And he is saying that it's a fraud. And right as this starts, I've got a video feed on via C-SPAN, a video live feed from CBS, and I watch CNN. And then I walk in the coffee room where MSNBC is, and I watch MSNBC both go to Anderson Cooper with some distractionary issues. So let's go to the live feed. Then we're going to Adam versus the man, Adam Kokesh, with his armed march on Washington. And then I want to show people CNN and what they're covering. Let's go to the real Benghazi feed from the House committee right now.
And so we moved at dawn. And we arrived at the annex, at least my group, I think, at about 4:45, perhaps, maybe 5 a.m. And a few minutes later came the word of the mortar attack. If I could return to Benghazi a little bit, talk through AAA. I'm sorry if I bounce back and forth, but the
oh my
AAA
God.
team was basically had to stay at the Benghazi airport because they had no transport and no escort from the Libyans. After
Ladies
the
and gentlemen,
of
this is what real testimony looks like. His voice is shaking. He's not going over notes.
Arrived.
He's putting his life on the line right now. This is what brings down tyranny right here. The one thing they fear, whistleblowers.
So the decision was made.
They stood down.
To go to the annex.
They have been caught standing down.
One of the
security force they ran. We told you this when it happened. It's now mainstream news that the State Department, CIA security force hired in Benghazi are the ones that did the attack. They were ordered to do it. Who were they ordered to do it by?
Come get him. And our local staff engaged on those phone calls admirably.
All right. Is CNN still not carrying the feed? Unbelievable. Ladies and gentlemen, you've got bombshell historical stuff. I'm sitting there during the break watching him say, it is not true that we couldn't have responded. We had aircraft, we had drones, we had everybody. They are not telling the truth. That is bombshell, bigger than Watergate. I mean, this is like out of a movie. We have the live feeds up at Infowars.com right now. We have the live feeds, multiple feeds in case they try to cut them, right now of Mr. Hicks, the deputy head of counterterrorism for the State Department. And the deputy head's the guy that always actually runs things. Up there dropping bombshell after bombshell. And we're recording it too. On the nightly news, we'll have all the excerpts. And tomorrow on the radio, we'll have all the excerpts. But this is unprecedented. Now I want to shift gears into the Second Amendment with Adam Kokesh, because he joined us on short notice and is very busy, of AdamVersusTheMan.com, syndicated radio host, libertarian activist. And I want to get his take on Benghazi first as well. He was in combat vet of Fallujah and other operations in Iraq when Fallujah was, a giant genocide operation. And he's spoken out against it. But the D.C. police chief has come out and said, we will arrest Adam Kokesh and open carry protesters. And we're going to play that here in just a moment. But Adam joining us via video Skype. If you're a radio listener, you can go watch the feed at prisonplanet.tv. Adam, what is it like to see... I mean, again, these tyrants always think they're going to get away with stuff. They ordered the stand down, and the globalist-run security force funded by the CIA, that's now on record. Exactly what our incredible sources told us 2 days after it happened. I mean, we broke this again. And I've told my crew, go get our interviews from right after Benghazi. They go, when were they? They were the day after, the 2 days after, the 3 days after. We had Colonel Schaefer on. He got threatened over it. He ran black operations against you name it, was ordered to stand down on bin Laden, and that's what he was told. We have all the witnesses. Why would they kill the ambassador? We know there was a weapons cache there they were transferring to al-Qaeda, including heat-seeking missiles. Were they getting rid of the people that transferred the weapons to al-Qaeda? We know they did now. Al-Qaeda's bragged and said, America gave us these. They're shooting down Syrian aircraft with them. You're a Marine Corps vet. You were also in PSYOPs for the Marines. What do you make of what's going on here? Because this whole narrative, we're seeing something, let's not exaggerate, 100 times bigger than Watergate. Watergate was over breaking into the DNC to get the psychological records on your enemies. Nowadays, they just do that by tapping into your internet, and they admit they do it, which is still wrong. What do you make of the magnitude of what we're seeing historically right now?
Well, Alex, I'm grateful for the opportunity to come back on your show and for your coverage of the Benghazi hearing and what's going on right now, the incident in general. It's very important that we shed light on this. But to put it in the bigger context, what does this represent? What is the ultimate crime in terms of the administration that's being committed here? It's that they're making political decisions that cost people their lives. And this is not something new, as you well know. This is simply an incident where we have such clear, obvious facts in front of us. We can take this to the American people and say, look, this is what your government is doing. It is undeniable. There is evidence. There is testimony. It is absolutely clear that decisions were made for political reasons, and they resulted in the deaths of Americans who were supposedly honorably serving their country. What do we have now in our foreign policy around the world? What do we have with the domestic policy being created by this administration? It's the exact same thing, except that people are able to bury their heads in the sand when they don't have this evidence thrust in their face. But Alex, you know as well as I that there's a preponderance of evidence, that if anything, Benghazi is just the cherry on top of this, where they're saying, all right, here it is, we have this particular incident. But if you look to every crime committed by the American government, by the Obama administration, what they actually did in Benghazi is relatively insignificant compared to the bailouts and TARP and the ripoff of the American people at the behest of the banking class, at the behest of the military-industrial complex, all of the wars that are started abroad, at the destruction of civil liberties here in America. And if you raise awareness, you got to take it one step further. And, you know, that's why we're doing what we're doing. That's so important about what you do with InfoWars, how you encourage people to get involved, and, of course, what we do with Adam versus the Man, inspiring people to assert their self-ownership.
Sure, let me bring this up. They've gone from Bush 6 years ago lying and saying we don't listen to Americans without warrants. And then when it came out, it was like, wow, this is illegal. They're going to stop.
Oh, and now you see that they're recording every phone call.
That's what I was about to say. Now, Obama, this is New York Times, on the verge of backing FBI plan to tap web users. They're already doing it, and they say preemptively, we're going to tap everyone. And by the way, this is pointed at libertarians and returning veterans. This is an open group of criminals where I have the New York Times today going, yeah, we're listening to everything we're doing. U.S. is weighing wide overhaul of wiretap laws. They call it overhaul, and they say, yeah, we're just going to watch you in live time and use it in court. This is the revolution against the Bill of Rights and Constitution. Absolutely. I mean, this is by a bunch of crazy people wearing third world dictator uniforms. Let's shift gears. This police chief, we're going to play a clip in a moment, of the District of Criminals, this alien incorporated criminal group. The Supreme Court said you can't keep people from having guns. 4 years later, nobody can have guns. They just do what Chicago ignores the Supreme Court, the lawless mafia. So I, at an instinctive level, get your courage to call for this, to go do this, to throw down the gauntlet, to overthrow their fraud politically with a major event like this. And you're going to be nonviolent, peaceful. I get it all. And then to watch her looking like a witch out of a movie, snickering about how they'll be forced to arrest you with this craven look in her eyes. I can have the guns. I'm the government god. You can't be trusted. This is lawlessness. But then I get everybody else saying, hey, why do they're going to spin this against us and they could provocateur. So understand, I admire what you're doing, but at the same time, I think it's very, very dangerous. And I don't think it's really criticism for people to say, danger Will Robinson. I think it's more important to have cameras there than guns. Do you see what I'm saying? So what do you want to say to the witch?
Well, absolutely. And I want to say it's much more dangerous to sit at home. It's much more dangerous to stay asleep. It's much more dangerous to remain a victim of government. It's much more dangerous to spend Independence Day sitting around getting fat, watching fireworks, and patting yourself on the back for being part of this great country and doing nothing about it. And we have already scored a major victory with this. I think you can appreciate what we have done, Alex, is provided this response from the chief of police, who has made it clear that she is a criminal. that she intends to break the law on Independence Day, and she intends to violate the constitutional rights of fellow Americans despite the ruling from the Supreme Court. And I was a little reluctant to come on and discuss this today, as you know, and we have some particulars that we're going to be announcing in the next few weeks about this march as it develops, as we see the support grow exponentially, as we see more and more law enforcement officers who are oath keepers rather than oath breakers sign on our side, and they will be accompanying us and providing an escort. But I'm ready to tell the chief of police right here publicly that she's put herself in a lose-lose situation. And there are really only two possible outcomes for this: to go non-violently, as we strongly are working to ensure that that is the outcome of this, that it is non-violent. But there are really only two possibilities. And one is that she honors our request and provides us with an escort along our route and allows us to conduct our march around the Capitol, around the Supreme Court, around the White House.
She has to allow you to eat at the lunch counter. You're asking like Eisenhower. You know, when people wouldn't let blacks go to school, you're asking her to actually protect the Bill of Rights and Constitution and to join you against treason. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. But here's the other alternative, Alex, and this is what I'm calling on people to join us for now, and why I'm asking people to RSVP specifically to this event on Facebook as the way that we are going to count our numbers and make sure that we have the critical mass and the strength to do this. And it looks like we are already there, nearly 3,000 RSVP. This thing is really taking off, and I'm so grateful for everybody who's made this commitment to stand with me. But if she does not respect the rule of law, we will shut her down. And what I mean by that is we will overwhelm them with people engaging in civil disobedience on this day, willing to risk arrest either through crossing that line, carrying a loaded firearm, or within the District of Columbia, doing whatever it takes to say that we will not be silent, we will not just obey, we will not go silently into the night, we will stand up, we will fight, we will disobey unjust laws, and we will make the enforcement of unconstitutional regulations untenable for law enforcement.
Well, so now I know why you were reticent to break this here. I didn't know that you were going to double down and say, I mean, well, I guess like the end of V for Vendetta. Can you guys look on YouTube and find the final scene or the end of V for Vendetta when people all put the mask on and go through the soldiers? Because even if they fire like Tiananmen Square, they will lose. This will not go like China. Is this what you were really planning, Adam?
I was not planning on getting such an immediate response from the police department, but I was planning on standing by my principles and sticking to my guns, so to speak. We fully intend to do that. And even if it's just me by myself crossing that line, getting arrested, we will give the Second Amendment and the Constitutional the ultimate test this Independence Day. Well, there's no doubt the government is totally and completely out of control on every front. Right now, by the way, they've even cut the Benghazi hearing off C-SPAN 1 to 2 to 3, and they're talking about not even having the hearing now. This is a total meltdown. You've got congressmen saying death is part of life. We've got them admitting that there was a stand-down ordered. This is unbelievable, the history that we're seeing unfold right now here on air. I mean, I just have trouble even being on air when such historical things happening. A mother of one of the dead is saying that she blames Hillary. Hillary's in the spotlight. Remember her throwing a fit and saying, what difference does it make, like a baby, you know, just showing her bravado. I remember her saying that. I mean, this is unprecedented. We've got live coverage at Infowars.com, and we've also got live coverage going on right now that we're seeing at drudgereport.com. And there's a major study out that I just mentioned. Gun crime has plunged, but Americans think it's up. So the LA Times actually just kind of redid the article that I was just mentioning earlier that Zero Hedge covered, actually showing the statistics. Unbelievable. More guns, less crime. That's what the Professor Lott's info has shown. 69% drop in actual shootings, 49% drop in violent crime, but only 12% of Americans believe gun crime has fallen. And by the way, this is from
FBI.gov and the Justice Department, they now have the official report out. So you see, I've been saying with our statisticians, 49% drop in violent crime.
Alex, this is a lot bigger than the firearms issue in the Second Amendment. This is about the people's fundamental relationship to government and whether we're going to be obedient wage slaves or whether we're going to be free, sovereign individuals. And I want to make clear exactly what I'm facing and what I'm calling on people to do if they join me. I'm going to be facing a felony charge of that includes a sentence of up to 5 years and $5,000 in fines. And I'm willing to take that risk. I'm willing to face that and force the court case in order to force the issue and give the Second Amendment the ultimate test in my particular act of civil disobedience that day. If that's how it goes down, it's going to be very peaceful, very controlled. We are going to send people one at a time and who are volunteering to be arrested on the same charge who want to join me. But broader than that now, that this is the threat, that they have declared the District of Columbia a constitution-free zone. We are calling for everybody who would like to join us in civil disobedience that day to swarm the Capitol, to overwhelm the law enforcement, to make it clear that if they're not even going to respect their silly little rules, we will make their job impossible. You don't have to bring a gun. In fact, you can come to our event unarmed. We highly suggest coming with a camera. We want to make sure that this is documented and everybody involved is held fully accountable. But if you want to go into the district unarmed, if you want to go in with a camera, if you want to commit another act of civil disobedience, I can think of no better way.
Yeah, because by the way, they get in your face there. I mean, you could be at the park with a camera and they walk over to families and want you to know you're in North Korea. I mean, you live there. That's why you know how hellish it is. I mean, the government runs around on power trips, foaming at the mouth with the same look in their eyes North Korean despots have. It is a spirit of disgusting filth. And right now, Benghazi is burning them down. Lanier, the police chief of the alien district of criminals that believes it's above the law. Imagine the Supreme Court said 4 years ago, your laws are all unconstitutional. They're still all in place. They say if you jump through 45,000 flaming hoops on a blue moon when the Easter Bunny, you know, sacrifices 9 children to the goblin god, then maybe you can have a gun permit if the criminals want to give it to you. And you see a 49% drop in violent crime, a 69% drop in survived shootings. That's the headline. I mean, I've got all the statistics here. LA Times is running with a 39% drop in gun crime. But that's just one little thing they snip it out. It's well over 50. And that's all in the firearm violence report. Adam Kokesh is our guest, and you see her. Let's play a clip of her and then get Adam Kokesh's take on this. And then I'm going Benghazi. I know Catherine Albrecht's coming on. I wanted to get her on about Google censoring people and stuff. Let's get her on at the next half hour because of Benghazi breaking news. If not, we can do her next week. Get her on the show next week. Let's go ahead and go to a woman in a costume acting powerful. She gets a gun, you don't, slave. That's what this is. Here it is.
Chief, what can you tell us about the man? I don't actually know where he lives, but he's an internet radio talk show host, and he says we need to push back against the government a bit. And the way to do that is to take some armed guns, rifles, what have you, put them on our backs, and march across Memorial Bridge on July 4th. Will they be allowed into the city?
Well, first of all, I want to clear up, there's a difference between civil disobedience, which I think is this is being portrayed as a civil disobedience, and actually violation of the law. I mean, there's two different things here. So civil disobedience, people come to Washington, D.C. to protest policies and government policies.
And you arrest them all the time.
No problem. But when you
cross no problem with you,
with firearms and you're not in compliance with the law, now you're talking about a criminal offense, and there's going to be some action by police. So obviously we have not, there's no permit that has been filed by the organizer. We have not made contact directly with the organizer yet, but we will, and we'll make sure that they understand that if they want to pass through the District of Columbia with firearms, as long as they're in compliance with the firearms laws for transportation of firearms through the district, we're all for it. But passing into the District of Columbia with loaded firearms is a violation of law, and we'll have to treat it as such.
Here's what Adam Kokesh told the listeners on his internet program a short time ago.
Oh, how evil.
I think it's time we stand up in critical mass and say, no, we're not just going to cower before your tyranny, Washington. We are not simply going to bend over and take it from the district of criminals. We are going to march. And I asked today, to the Adam versus the Man audience, I asked, if I were to go on an illegal...
All right, let's go back.
Not unlawful.
Let's go back to Adam here. Look, the issue here is they have ruled their laws are illegal. And so she says she's going to violate our civil rights, but she gets to have a gun. She gets to have bodyguards. She gets to sit up there and play the part of God while this is an illegitimate government that says our military is under NATO UN rule. Okay, America has been hijacked. These people, I don't care. Notice the uniforms get bigger, the stars get bigger, the outfits get bigger, the red carpets get bigger, the more illegitimate they are. In Mexico, in North Korea. We are not North Korea, witch. What do you say to her going out to break, Adam?
I think it's really disgusting that an officer allegedly of the law doesn't understand what civil disobedience is. We are intending to break what we consider to be an unjust law because it is contrary to the natural law.
Next, you're going to tell me blacks shouldn't have gone and sat in at the places to eat. You're an extremist. How dare you do this? How dare you? Well, Elijah Cummings is whitewashing Benghazi, saying death is part of life. So don't make a big deal out of it, buddy. See, they're going to decide when a death is important. Kill a million plus Iraqis, it's a good price to pay for security in the Gulf. Madeleine Albright. At that time, it was 500,000. Now it's 1.5 million. So she was very proud of that then. She's proud of it now. And when they say it's a good price to pay, you know, take all your liberties. So they're secure in their criminal activities. So like, death's part of life. Big deal, ambassador dead. And the government's like, well, this is one of our own. Now you get it. You're all expendable morons until you have a Bill of Rights and Constitution that's enforced. Adam, I've been ranting a lot. Adam versus the Man. People just joined us. He's planning on the Armed Peaceful March on D.C., a civil rights march, like going and sitting at the front of the bus or going into the lunch counter and demanding you be served. And, of course, I was being sarcastic, telling him, how dare you. I get why people are so timid. If people are freaked out by me going on Red Coat Show and going, you want our guns, it's going to cause a civil war, back off. If so-called conservatives and libertarians literally defecated in their pants over that, what you're doing is like a nuclear bomb going off compared to that. So again, I get your right to do it. I get they can come against us and do all sorts of stuff. In my gut, I probably wouldn't have done it. I mean, not just even calling them. I'm not saying you're bad. I'm saying my view, my opinion. But now that it's going, now that it's happening, Adam, we need to make sure there's cameras there and make sure you get as much support so this doesn't get co-opted by the enemy. Go ahead.
Absolutely, Alex. Well, I'd like to extend a personal invitation to you and to everyone in your audience, but really to you in particular for this day. I can't imagine a better way to spend Independence Day than engaged in something as important as civil disobedience. And you don't have to bring a gun. You don't have to be a part of my event. But if you could be there on Independence Day to document it, it would be greatly appreciated. But if you could engage in some civil disobedience and say that you are willing to put your concept of what the Constitution should be above what the law enforcement officers believe
gods?
It is.
No. The officials. Call them gods.
Excuse me. The officials. Alex, I invite you to get arrested with me on Independence Day in Washington, D.C.
Well, know what they'll do. This is what they've done to, like, peaceful demonstrators in Austin and in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and everywhere else. They'll just, the night before, put pipe bombs in your apartment or Molotov cocktails. So just, you should say up front, you don't have any Molotov cocktails.
I don't, and there are too many of us for them to try that this time, Alex. We are storming the Capitol.
Well, I've stormed the Texas Capitol, and they actually...
You have.
They stood down because they didn't want us to have the victory. Look at the opt-out a few years ago on the groping. They just shut the whole thing down for a week. They didn't want us to have that victory. They didn't want to have it. In fact, they should have in the South, the racist restaurant owners, they should have just said, okay, today you can eat, but then tomorrow you can't. Do you understand? Then you would have never gotten that freedom.
This is the time to push.
What do you want to say to her? I mean, I hate to chew into her, but she just looks like a goon. And with now giant, I mean, she looks worse than like a you know, a Guatemalan general or something. I mean, this is a joke.
I feel sorry for her, Alex, that she's been called out at this point and identified as someone who doesn't care about the Constitution, who would rather be a lackey of politicians than stand up for the people. And if you talk about the effect on the District of Columbia, the murder capital of the world, or the country, if not the world, you see that the effect of their policies has been incredibly destructive. It has been a great boon for poverty and for crime. And I think, if anything, it's time for the American people to recognize that when the government has these kinds of overbearing policies, there are real consequences. This is a very simple, easy way, relatively speaking, compared to what prior generations were called on to do in the struggle, to stand up for what we believe in, to stand up for liberty.
You know, I think
So
you're an extremist. How dare you make fun of her costume? I think she should start wearing a Queen Elizabeth crown.
It would certainly be appropriate. But there's something bigger going on here, Alex, and you understand this, and I really do hope to have you there on Independence Day and so many of your audience.
No, I get this is epic. I know you're doing it. So I'm not just going to sit here like a coward and say you're a bad guy.
Hi, Ted Anderson, president of Midas Resources. With over 30 years of experience in the precious metals business, I can tell you without a doubt, we are facing the most dangerous and volatile times, not just in the United States, but worldwide. Peace of mind is gold and silver. Now is the time to invest in gold. When it comes to bullion coins, our prices are competitive and the closest to melt. If it's numismatics you're looking for, we have some of the best deals out there. Visit MidasResources.com today or go to Infowars.com and click on the link to see our daily specials. Here's an example of one of our long-term specials we've been offering for more than a year. 2 silver dollars from the turn of the last century, plus 2 powerful films, The Obama Deception and The American Dream. We also add in the book Dishonest Money, all for $72 and free shipping. The most trusted name in precious metals is Midas Resources. Call 1-800-686-2237 or go to Infowars.com. I'm Ted Anderson with Midas Resources.
We are now only entering the edge of a global financial superstorm, the likes of which the planet has never seen. Here in the United States, the private Federal Reserve is giving more than $85 billion of taxpayer money a month to themselves and other offshore foreign banks. And the worst part is, we have to pay the bank's interest on the money we give them. There is now a race between the global central bank mafia cartels to see who can devalue their country's currencies the fastest. We are already seeing big increases in inflation at the grocery store and the gas line. This will eventually lead to hyperinflation. More than a dozen top globalists like George Soros have been buying record amounts of gold while at the same time bad-mouthing it to the public. Don't just listen to what they say. Watch what they do. For more than 6,000 years of recorded human history, gold has been the ultimate hedge against uncertain times and inflation. Before investing in metals, it is important to do your own research and find a reputable company. Midas Resources has the highest Better Business Bureau rating of an A+. Unfortunately, very few precious metal companies can boast that. Midas Resources has assembled one of the most educated, researched, and professional teams of brokers in the industry. The evidence is overwhelming. In uncertain times, gold and silver is safe harbor. Now is the time to invest in gold. Call 800-686-2237 and Midas Resources will mail you 10 reasons to own gold absolutely free. No shipping. It's absolutely free. And finally, Ted Anderson wants to challenge you to find any deal that comes close to his 2 silver dollars at cost with free shipping, with 2 free films and a book for $72. That's more than $160 value for $72, shipping included. Click the link at Infowars.com to go to the MidasResources.com specials page. Brought to you by MidasResources.com and Ted Anderson, the trusted name in precious metals. Ladies and gentlemen, Gregory Hicks, the deputy head of counterterrorism for the State Department, has come out and basically confirmed everything we already knew. But I expected, because of threats and other whistleblowers being gagged, that he was going to say, oh, they just screwed up. You know, they're really idiots. He said, no, they lied. They had C-130s with gunships, with Gatling guns and howitzers. They had drones, armed drones. We were down the road with armored vehicles. We were not given an escort. No one was allowed to protect them. There was a stand down. They are lying. And that's why the head of CENTCOM got removed, being so upset about it. The head of CENTCOM before that, Fox Fallon, got removed because he refused to stage an attack on our own ships to blame Iran. We have a group of lawless criminals in government. And they're able to steal your pension funds. They're able to butcher the Bill of Rights and Constitution. But they can't get everything because the military and the police are not complete criminals. Now, this just goes on and on and on and on. And it's on every front. Ladies and gentlemen, they're stealing $85 million a month out of one tax window, and they won't tell Congress where it goes. But then the companies brag to their shareholders that it's going to foreign multinational banks and J.P. Morgan and Goldman Sachs here in America and Wells Fargo and Wachovia, and you know who owns and controls that? Berkshire Hathaway. He got $44+ billion in 2008 of taxpayer money, and it's happened every year since. Now do you know why the police are wearing black uniforms? Now do you know why there's cameras? They've robbed everything. And I got to say, this is historical, to be watching this hearing and seeing these people testify, shaking and going, they're lying, they knew, and they stood down. I just got chills, big ones. Now, John Bound's been watching this. We've been watching it. We're giving you all the... I got goosebumps right here. I got goosebumps.
Yeah, as I was leaving, we're still right in the middle of this, but as I was leaving, they were going through Hillary Clinton's cables and seeing whether or not she was involved with the... By leaving, you mean when you walked out of your office next door into here. And so the last statement by Representative Gowdy, he was talking about the fact that a classified email has come out and he read it for the first time. So they're now going all the way, releasing classified stuff in Congress. No wonder all the channels tuned away. Yeah, guys, check. Is Fox carrying this? It's all over. It's the main station. CNN cut to a package from last night with CIA Cooper on gangs. Oh, sure. Yeah, they're probably using the whole debacle with the girls that were taken and all that as a diversion. But anyway, it's not diverting us. Gowdy came out with the information that the Libyan department there was saying the day after in an email that to the State Department. Well, that was in the news. That it was a terrorist attack. Well, he just read that. And Fox is carrying it. The other channels have cut away, at least last time I checked. And so Rice has a lot to answer for, and of course it's going to lead right up to Hillary Clinton. And it should take a lot of people down if we can get all the truth out. Well, I mean, look, if the whole truth comes out, they had high-def video feeds in infrared of they could zoom in on birthmarks on people. Mm-hmm. Okay? Yep. I mean, they had less than a mile away a giant CIA base full of Navy SEALs and CIA commandos who after their SEALs, and only 2 guys refused to stand down and ran and drove over there and fought them off. Well, I think the most telling statement is General Martin Dempsey's to Senator Iotti of New Hampshire. He says, we couldn't do it because it was the middle of the night. And everybody knows the Pentagon doesn't fight at night. These aircraft, they only fight at night. They were on strip alert, and they were a part of a commitment to NATO and Europe, not America, not our embassy, our American embassy. They're on a commitment to the United No. I'm explaining something. In fact, this is the key. This is the angle no one's covering, and this is the key angle. You had 3 hearings last year where the Joint Chiefs read letters from Obama saying, not to Congress, to NATO, saying, I stand by for NATO orders. I am under NATO. That's worse than Hitler saying, I'm the dictator of Germany. At least he was German. This is a guy who's got all these multiple names, Barry Soetoro, all this. We don't know who he is. I mean, he did have the name Barry Soetoro. No. Okay, they've sealed all his records, and he says... in public letters, we've written the articles, we've played the clips. We need this as a package tonight, showing when they said, we are under NATO and the UN. And now it's come out here. They stood down because, see how that's perfect? The White House is like,
sorry, CENTCOM head, you can't aid him. our hard security force is taking him out for whatever reason. NATO isn't answering the telephone.
Yeah, this is
so
NATO's backyard. Yeah. And Panetta's over there, you know, saying that there's no way they could have gotten to it. So they're just going with whatever NATO.
They just had an aircraft carrier 100 miles away and C-130s 30 miles away and Predators 20,000 feet in the air.
They also had another group that was going there, and they were told to stay, to not get on the plane, and they would have made it just before the attack happened, the laser-pointed attack. I mean, the way that Hicks talks about it is that the way they were attacked was with incredible accuracy.
Oh, no, that came out a week into it, that they knew internal secret procedures, and that's why Colonel Schaefer came on and said it was clearly a hit with inside knowledge. And I said, oh, you're saying Obama did it. And off air, he's like, affirmative. And then he's like, well, no, I'm getting a lot of heat. I didn't mean that. So maybe I misunderstood the colonel, who everything he told me has now come true. And by the way, I know Schaefer's not coming on because they're threatening him. I want Schaefer on, Tony Schaefer, now. Okay? Because he has the intel. He said all this a week after it happened.
Yeah, I'd like to see what Pachenik has to say about this.
He's on Fox News, I know, but he needs to go out and say this on Fox News. Okay, next week, get him. He's a good guy, man. I tell you, we know what they did. Why do you think they killed him? Because they were transferring the heat seekers there at that? But we know they were giving them the heat seekers there. Yeah, and a whole warehouse full of heat-seeking missiles.
Yeah, that's probably part of it.
And obviously, they can't start shooting the airliners down and declare martial law when it comes out the globalists gave al-Qaeda the heat seekers.
Not to mention all the documentation that was destroyed. In the
Recap everything you just said. I'm sorry, Catherine Albrecht, I said move her to the 30. Let's get her on for 10 minutes about Google. Get her on next week for a full hour because it's so important. And Jeffrey Smith will get a 10-minute update on him on the march on Monsanto because it is important. But I've got to take calls and cover this. Recap everything you just saw.
What it comes down to is that we've got a side of NATO, which includes our State Department and our president.
That's running al-Qaeda in Syria.
Yeah, that is in on this attack. And then the attack happens, and the people in charge that are just doing their jobs as American citizens, basically working for America, are there begging for help to arrive. There are all these answers given to them how they can't arrive. They can't send troops. They're 2 hours away. They'll never make it. We can't send a fighter jet over.
And then 6 hours later, everybody's dead. 8 hours.
Everyone's dead, and all the evidence is destroyed. Because
I tell you, though, it's a good test, though. They had a base with hundreds of commandos down the street, and they followed orders.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, you think your pension funds are safe, commandos and CIA people? You really want to let crooks like this run wild who think we're so stupid? I'm sorry. Go ahead. Recap the other points.
Well, I can't wait to get in there and see what else is going on because now they're going after Hillary Clinton. And they're seeing if she's linked up to these cables, to these emails. She's the head of the state.
She's in command.
She's totally in command. How does she's taking a week off?
Why did they want the ambassador dead? Why did they use? It's on record. This is the security group is who killed him. Their hired security is who killed him.
There's some interior motive with the United Nations and Gaddafi and the evidence and the money.
No, that's it. It's Sarkozy. He gave $1 billion to Sarkozy. Reportedly.
Yeah.
Get me Wayne Madsen today. Get me Wayne Madsen right now.
Well, we'll put all this together in a cogent report for tonight. For the
Man, I'm telling you, this is because listen, I got to admit, I'm rarely wrong. And again, John Bound's a longtime news reporter, syndicated radio, a reporter in his own right. Comes from a long journalistic background. What, your dad won a Peabody, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
I'm just bragging about you. Anyways, the point is,
uses it as.
Have you ever? I'm rarely wrong around here. I mean, I'm usually right, but I got to say I'm wrong about this. I was like, it's going to be a whitewash, that there was internal failures and they screwed up, they need more funding. No, this is guys shaking, going, they knew, they stood down, they killed everybody. I mean, they all know it was a hit. Their security force went and murdered them, and this is now on television. How are they going to spin this, John Bound?
Well, it's completely ludicrous because the very next day he sees, or a few days later, he sees Rice come out on the news on various shows saying that it was a group of people that were angry about an Islamic film that was made. And
it turns out that was produced by the FBI.
Right. when that had nothing to do with it because there was no protest at the embassy,
No, the media hyping it caused a few goodies where the Muslims killed Christians in Egypt.
So it's just a big cover-up. There's a huge amount of information.
They tried to start Muslim riots everywhere the week after to cover this up.
Yeah, and yeah.
Which was a false flag. I mean, to go, look, Arabs, get mad. It's good. Muslims, burn everything. Look, we're saying Muhammad is a, you know, pilfering goats or whatever. And so they put this out. They covered that. That's a false flag. They always run a false flag to cover up. Let me tell you, I'm going to say this right now. We are in prime danger for them to blow plants sky high, mass shootings today, the next day. Yep. I mean, I'm telling you right now, they probably, the globalists have probably got
on red alert.
They're loading trucks with bombs right now.
Yeah, they're covering something up that is so massive that we're going to start digging into, not just us.
No, they've got to watch them. I'm telling you, they could set a nuke off and say Syria did it. They are going to pull something big right now. Yep. That just hit me. Yep. Danger, Will Robinson.
Okay. Thank you. My time is expired.
I thank the gentleman from Massachusetts, Mr. Tierney. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Hicks, let me start by acknowledging how riveting your testimony was of the events of that day and evening, and thanking you for your service and your activity, for sharing with us all the brave acts that occurred that night. I don't think we've heard enough of that. And I think it's important for the American people to know how many individuals, both in Tripoli and in Libya, responded so very well and bravely on that. So thank you for sharing that and for your service as well.
All right.
We have an important...
Again, that's more of the hearing. The thank you for this service. Thank you for that service. We've got teams watching it all, giving you the latest in the live feed update at Infowars.com. By the way, Colonel Schaefer could come on today, but they thought because I had other guests who I'm now canceling or moving, that... he couldn't come on. So it looks like Colonel Schaefer will probably be on sometime in the next 2 hours. He's live on Fox right now, but he's got the real insight on all this because he ran a bunch of the secret operations like Stratus Ivy and others that were deeply involved tracking al-Qaeda, who basically work for NATO. See, NATO is the big narcotics trafficking group under Bilderberg, and it's used to do stuff the Pentagon isn't involved in, kind of on white side operations. And notice that's why they're now saying our military is under NATO. I mean, this is such a big deal. This is the globalist takeover of America. And if they can get away with this, they can get away with anything. John Bound, what is the latest as we call out the most important intel from these historic hearings? Again, I was incorrect. I thought this would be a whitewash. This is meltdown level perjury, lying, a stand down, and lying about the stand down is impeachable, felony, but everything's impeachable. But this is so blaring. And again, the Republicans are involved in so many other crimes that they can't ever go after Obama on globalist issues of shutting down power plants, of stuff like that, because they're involved in it too. But something like this, I mean, and again, I don't even know if Obama was involved. I'm not whitewashing it for Obama. He's a teleprompter reader. But Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton, this is really their third term. They are in there running things. And that witch is definitely lying to people. And she's been caught lying. John Bound, what's the latest?
She is an actual witch, by the way. Yeah, right now it's Nordstrom is on the hot seat, and he is talking about the complete lack of proactive leadership in the State Department, which...
that's a whitewash.
Well, but he's also saying that there's no way that Hillary Clinton didn't know because she's in charge of the entire operation. So... the more of these emails come out, the more it shows that she was completely in command.
You mean Hillary Clinton is lying?
Of the stand down.
Come on, Hillary lied?
She is a dirty game she plays. But what we're going to find out here probably within the next hour or so is that Hillary Clinton is completely responsible for the stand down. She's in cahoots with NATO to make sure that stand down happened, probably serving her masters there at the United Nations.
Yeah, I mean, we know they ordered the killing of this guy. This was the security force they pay al-Qaeda jihadi leaders, and they sent them in to wipe them out.
And then they send Rice out, the spokesperson of the United Nations, to tell the American people that we have nothing to... Don't look over here because there's nothing going on.
People with artillery and rocket launchers over 8 hours who had precision understanding of security and pinpoint striking.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, this is a globalist attack on that ambassador. Maybe the ambassador was a good guy and said, we're not going to take down Syria and give 10,000 heat-seeking missiles to al-Qaeda. Maybe he had a heart. I mean, we don't know. Because we know they gave him time after they killed him to get the weapons out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that's probably what went on.
Yeah, they destroyed all the evidence, and for some reason, the security detail that even just drives the trucks, they weren't even there. So the guy that got out, Hicks, the guy that got out, him and his crew that were destroying all the evidence, they had to drive those trucks. They didn't even know how to drive them. So they didn't even have the people there to do that.
And they were calling on bases down the street to help them. And it was, sorry, NATO. NATO's not answering the phone right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Hillary's taking a bubble bath. No, I mean, Hillary was in the Situation Room going, stand down continues.
Stand down. Get to AFRICOM. Let them know it's complete stand down.
Oh, yeah, and that's on record. They told AFRICOM stand down. Yep. All of it.
Yep, they were on a plane headed to help them out. They would have made
Nixon had to leave office for lying about a break-in to get psychology records. Obama is in the New York Times saying we're spying on all of you without warrants now.
Yeah.
So that's okay, too.
Yeah. Yeah. Nixon was thrown out for spying on his competition, and now the government's spying on all of us.
And he was thrown out for having medical records and IRS records. Now they give them to all the agencies.
Yeah, and now they're pushing Obama's back.
And now they send Al-Qaeda to kill an ambassador and Navy SEALs.
Total corruption, total mafia is taking over.
Don't tread on us. We're sick of being treaded on. You may have the zombies out there wanting to be tread upon, telling gun owners it's our fault people get shot when violent crimes down 49%. And shooting, this is from the Firearms Violence 1993-2011 Justice Department report out today. Even the LA Times was forced to report on it. They're trying to spin it, though, like it's a case for gun control. There's more guns, more gun ownership, more concealed carry. Criminals are scared. Criminals now go and beg on the street corner. They know they'll get their butt blown off going in most people's houses. Come in my office, we're not going to get in fetal positions. For a mass shooting, you're going to get shot. It's like attacking a police station in Texas. You go in the average person's business or house. I got a construction crew right here. I know full well's packing heat. Good. A criminal that wants to come kill you, folks, is coming. The only way to stop him is that you're armed. That's the only way to equalize things, not take all the guns. I won't have them. You won't have them, right? Then they're going to have them. I'm going to get more into that in the next hour. Let me give you the toll-free number to join us. It's 800-259-9231. But let me add something. We don't screen calls here. Except when I say it's on a subject, and it's on one thing. Are you watching these Benghazi hearings? Do you realize how big this is? Because I'm right about, let's be honest, 95% of the time. I mean, I do my research. I know what I'm talking about. That's been proven. And I'm not proud of that either. I'm saying, you know, we know what we're talking about. When I'm wrong, I will tell you I'm wrong. These people's body language is they're feeling good. They're doing the right thing. They're scared. They know they're coming after them. They're coming after their families. They may even get arrested for testifying, but they're going all the way. Some of these people were basically told they couldn't talk about what they're talking about. You're seeing national security orders being broken right now. Fake national security orders. I talked to Colonel Schaefer. He's going to come on tomorrow. We're lining that up. He's in critical meetings. This is historical, okay? And Schaefer's in the middle of all this. He's a whistleblower. Ladies and gentlemen, on exposing al-Qaeda working for the globalist. Just like Sibel Edmonds said, there's a group in NATO and a group in CIA above the Pentagon, Justice Pachenik says, running al-Qaeda. And they sent, that came out a week into it, that the Benghazi security force, this is on record. Now it's mainstream news yesterday. The Benghazi security force. In Benghazi, the group of jihadis they brought in as their base of operations to take over all of Libya. Months after they've taken over all of Libya. Then they go and they're doing weapons transfers to the jihadis, and the jihadis show up and kill the ambassador and the security detail, and it came out in the news. Guys, type in fact, I think it was even like New York Times or was it Al Jazeera headline, Benghazi attackers had inside intelligence or knew State Department security secrets. They knew stuff that most Navy SEALs don't know, and that's who they use to test most areas' security. That's who they send in against it. They knew more than most of the SEAL teams, because most of them aren't assigned to that. I mean, they knew exactly where to hit. They knew everything. Now, again, they know everything. They're the local security detail. There's an 8-hour stand down. Ladies and gentlemen, this is naked. I didn't think this would come out. And these people, I mean, punch them back up, because you guys were just showing the testimony. These people are freaked out. The idiot staffers don't know what's going on. The sellout congressmen, most of them, are just fumbling around and trying to whitewash things. The Republicans want to score points but not go all the way, because this could bring down their whole system. And when it cuts back to the people in the hearing, they are telling the truth. We already know, because we already know all the facts. But it is just incredible to see this happening. This is unprecedented. Now, I want to apologize to Catherine Albrecht, host here on this network. But she knows. She's a host. She knows big breaking news. People move guests. She'll be on this for a full hour next week on Google. The biggest hacker, the biggest computer crimes group in the world, on record, hacking into emails, breaking into computers, stealing data, NSA connected, above the law, doesn't even get in trouble. And then they go around now with their browsers saying Infowars.com and Drudge Report are malware, and then we scan our computers and it's not on there, and then it turns out it's a group connected to Google. This time and 3 years ago when they did it to Drudge, 2.5 years ago. So just amazing how they run these false flags. I mean, they are see, and you can have an antivirus deal. More and more McAfee's doing this, even though I know the founder of McAfee and had him on. They'll say stuff about Infowars. Or you go to a library, they've got these programs that say, oh, that's extremist. You're not allowed to go to Infowars.com. They don't want you going there because we know what we're talking about. There it is, Drudge Report versus Google. Matt Drudge calls search engine out over malware designation. There, good job, Drudge. Looks like Google doesn't like Drudge Report headlines this morning. Be a man. Drudge tweeted, I guess yesterday morning, along with the below image. Yeah, that's the images. And they also did it to Infowars. Again, folks, we've got, I didn't even know Drudge did that. Good job, Drudge. I mean, we've got these people on our butts, man. You've got the White House saying, don't visit Drudge. I mean, we're afraid to let anybody talk because of Drudge. Because we can get the guest on. I can get the guest on, the colonels and former special ops and the former head of State Department black ops, and have them say, it was a hit, it was a murder, they went in, they ordered the stand down, this is Al-Qaeda, this is the local security force, that's why they stood down, either to kill the ambassador on purpose, or they were too embarrassed to airstrike their own Benghazi rebels they just put in power. Either way, it's felony aiding and abetting murder. If you know somebody that works for you is coming to kill somebody and you don't try to stop it, you now are an accomplice to capital, premeditated murder. Red rum, backwards. Red rum. Hillary Clinton, red rum. Barack Obama, red rum. Everybody that goes along with this, you're now part of red rum. When you help cover this up, you're now part of red rum. Red rum. Red rum. Red rum, red rum. Here's the New World Order. I'm coming in. And they're rushing on every front. What do they have to lose? They're going after the borders. They're going after the guns. They're bringing in internet taxes. They're saying in the New York Times, we're spying on you without warrants. There's nothing you can do. This is a full-out blitzkrieg attack on everything right now. And you know what? We're beating them on a bunch of fronts. Dr. Catherine Albrecht, Harvard-educated expert on technology, and its abuse for the last, I don't know, 13, 14 years, writing best-selling books, fighting it. I want to get your take, because you cover everything. Recent breast cancer survivor. God, very, very excited about that. Hope you're doing well. Hope that's still in complete remission. We're all praying for you. I should have called and asked you that since you were here. So maybe give us a brief update on that. I know it's private info. But here you are with us. What do you make of this Benghazi? Because I'm not hyping this. This is bigger than catching them staging at least provocateuring the Boston deal. And what do you think they'll do now? What do you think about Benghazi A and B? What will they do to distract us? I mean, if they put out that Muhammad video to try to get everybody to riot in the Middle East, you know, as a cover for this, a false flag, if they did Fast and Furious to try to get our guns, what will they do, Catherine Albrecht?
Well, you know, Alex, this is always the question I ask anytime they tell us of government misdeeds, because their history is to cover it all up, and they control the media, so they're clearly in a position to be able to cover it all up. And the fact that it's being brought to our attention repeatedly over and over on every mainstream media outlet makes me say, what gives? Why is it that they're taking their own and putting them up on the stand and hanging them out to dry, which, you know, admittedly they deserve that, but there are so many crimes going on in Washington, so many crimes going on at the highest levels of power within our military. Why is this one being brought to our attention? And so this is always the question that I know you ask when you're looking at these kinds of questions. And, you know, you talked about being right 95% of the time. I got to say, I'm with you. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. What is it that they're trying to gain from this? They've clearly got the whole country right now shaking their fist at Hillary Clinton, shaking their fist at all the main players who really screwed up over in Benghazi. But my question, why are they telling us about it?
Listen, I have studied this from the inside with all these insiders from day one. I have been right on top of this, you know, really being focused on the West funding radical jihadi al-Qaeda. I've been doing that for now 18 years. And I got to tell you, from all my sources, they genuinely had a break. Even the CFR said that people were freaked out, and the Bilderberg was concerned about this 2 years ago, that people now know our government's funding al-Qaeda to take over Libya and Syria, and they've had all these generals removed and admirals, the head of CENTCOM, because they're not going along. I think this is a genuine revolt happening, and Dick Cheney and people are trying to just call it, you know, negligence, which looks like they're criticizing Hillary. But that's the cover. This is, and Senator Graham calling it negligence and systematic failure. This is not systematic failure. They wanted that ambassador dead. There was a torture base down the street. They ordered him not to help him. They had a warehouse full of missiles there. They don't want it on record that they want to be able to say Al-Qaeda stole the missiles down the road. So they were willing to kill the ambassador to do it. That's the best I can tell. What do you think?
No, I think that makes sense. And then the real question is, who are they willing to sell down the river? You know, what's going to be the outcome? And I think that's really the question. You know, I got to thinking about this, Alex, that if Hillary Clinton had been forced to wear Google goggles, then we would have known exactly what she read and exactly when she read it. And I'm certainly not advocating that people have to wear those, but that's one of my great fears. We were talking about Google and what they're doing to InfoWars and into the Drudge Report. But when we start talking about who knew what and when did they know it, it seems to me that that would be your perfect excuse for saying we need tighter controls over all communications. We need more surveillance equipment, even over, you know, key figures, important people. And of course, if they do begin to spew that rhetoric, you know, it's only going to affect us, and it actually won't wind up affecting them. But that's another piece in the back of my mind, because a lot of this really is hinging on who knew what, said what, saw what, read what, and when. And I'm kind of waiting for the surveillance piece to come up. Have you seen anybody mentioning that, or gee, we need tighter controls?
Yes, they've actually already been saying that. They had 2 drones right over it for 8 hours, off and on. They had C-130s. They've been caught lying. I mean, believe me, they don't.
Well, then that kind of backfires on them, right? So this whole surveillance apparatus that they put in place is kind of like the cops who don't want you filming them. You know, they want the surveillance cameras on every corner, and they want to be able to watch us and go through our email and spy through our windows with drones in our backyards. But they don't want their own activities observed and watched.
And that's what they should know. Everything, what comes around goes around. You never get away with anything in this life. People say, I don't believe in God, I'm not worried about what I do. No, I found stuff comes back to you in this life. And anything you do bad sends out ripples that come back not just on you, but your kids. And I think why they're going to get brought down, I really do think they're going to get brought down unless they stage a huge false flag, is that people love their children. And folks realize the bottom has dropped out. Let's put up the whitewash headline there. It's U.S. too slow to act as drone cam captured Libyan horror. And that's back from October of last year. See, the drones were there. They knew. They ordered the stand down and called the attack with artillery a protest, just like they did in Libya and Syria. So I guess if somebody ever comes up and shoots you in the head, when the cops show up, you just say it's a protest, officers, like Benghazi or like Libya or Syria. You know, if you carpet bomb a country, it's a protest. But let me ask you about this, then we're going to go to break and come back with calls. Look at this in the New York Times today. U.S. is weighing wide overhaul of wiretaps. We have the FBI Deputy Head of Counterterrorism Monday on CNN say everything you say is recorded. We're not just listening in live time. And he smiled. So now they're flaunting what you and I already know. Now listen, the Obama administration, resolving years of internal debate, is on the verge of backing a Federal Bureau of Investigation plan for a sweeping overhaul of surveillance. It's an overhaul. You know, Big Brother's an overhaul of surveillance laws that would make it easier to wiretap people who communicate using internet rather than by traditional phones, according to FBI, according to officials familiar with the deliberations. Well, that's all in the Cybersecurity Act that you know about, where they preemptively say they're going to use in court the fact that they're already spying on us. And he says that on CNN. He goes, well, we're not using it in court yet. They're already doing it. Now they want to be able to just preemptively do whatever they want. I mean, this is hardcore tyranny. What's your take on that?
Well, you know, this is an arms race, and it's an information arms race is what it really is. And the reason I was so interested in what Google was doing to InfoWars is because we're to the point now, you know, we like to think that we've got all this distributed communication and we're all networked and grassroots. But the reality is if Google were to take InfoWars or my website or any website off of the internet, 90% of people out there would never see it again. I mean, that would be the end of it because we've consolidated so much power into these very few places that are disseminating all of our information and helping us find stuff. So we really need to be thinking as they start talking about this, what really is an information end game. If they get to the point where they pass this sales tax, which is probably going to go through, that's going to give them the right to audit all of your communications and online purchases, of course, because they want their income. And they would then have a justification. And then they start talking about all this efficiency and security and wiretapping and this and that. And you could get to the point where you could see somebody like Google not listing Infowars.com any longer. And then you could see, if you try to get to it through some other means, that the wiretapping and all the surveillance would be able to figure out who's going there. So, you know, we're getting to the point where I think we need to be looking at alternative ways of communicating, just like you're always talking about alternative ways of getting off the grid or getting food independence. We need to be thinking about getting internet independence and communication independence, because if we're not careful, this net that they're tightening is going to tighten so much that we're going to really, when they drop the boom and they shut the internet down and say no one can get on it unless you have your biometric eye scan and your government approval comrade, at that point, a whole lot of us are not going to know how to communicate. So we need to be thinking about these things.
That's why we've got to still go with terrestrial radio. We've got to have print publications. People have got to support and keep the DVDs and make copies and keep their old computers, because all the new computers are going to be on cloud. You're not going to be able to keep data yourself. This is the forced conversion, and they admit that's the plan. But for those that just joined us, to have Google 3 years ago with Drudge come out and say he was serving malware when it turned out it was Drudge not doing it, but Google doing it, and now they're doing it to Drudge and us, and we went and looked, it wasn't true, and the White House is attacking us, and all their surrogates are, people better appreciate InfoWars, because what's my goal? My goal is to beat these people. And folks, I'm not on a power trip. I know how small we really are. It freaks me out to know we're some of the most prominent people in the world that actually have analyzed this attack profile and are fighting it. And it's good to know you're there, Catherine. We need more people. Give us your website for folks that want to visit that one while it's still available.
Well, I'm at kmashow.com or just KatherineAlbrecht.com, but let me also suggest people check out xquick.com, which is the private alternative to Google, because we don't serve Google results. If they filter you off of Google...
Absolutely. We got to boycott Google now. We're going to have you on about that next week. Phone calls on Benghazi Gate. Straight ahead. Thank you, Catherine Albrecht. I'm Alex Jones. All right, I'm going to take phone calls now and analyze the live hearings. I've got my reporter, John Bound, out there, Kurt Nimmo, Adon Salazar, all writing notes, updating Infowars.com with a live update page with the video feeds that the mainstream media is censoring. With the latest, they're now confirming that there was not a backlog of transportation on the ground or the air. They could have helped them. They've got all the State Department witnesses, you name it, who were there, explaining they were told to stand down and that the White House is lying. Hillary Clinton is lying. And I expect them to stage something big. Some new war, some new crisis, some new something. An assassination attempt, God only knows. Something to make themselves look like victims. Because this is so big, folks. Now this has been hiding in plain view. You ask, well, why is it coming out? Is there something behind this? No. They just did it so sloppy in front of everybody and thought this was 20 years ago when they controlled the media. They do not control the media. No one trusts a word they say. And Gregory Hicks is up there telling the truth because I've studied this. My expert guests have studied it, and he is telling the truth. Don't forget, folks, to support Infowars.com. We sold out of the May issue of the magazine. 30,000 copies at cost. Boom, sold out. Weldon came to me this morning. He said there's about 1,000 left right now. Do you want to sell them individually so everybody who wants one, who missed them, has a chance to get them? And now that's all that's there is singles with the free bumper stickers inside. And I lost money on this because I usually sell them for like $1 a piece. With the stickers and all the rest of it and the shipping, I lose money. But we're selling them for $7.95 a piece so we can pay for stickers in maybe the July issue again. So get this collector double cover issue right now at InfoWarsStore.com with the March issue of Exposing False Flag Terror and the History of False Flag Terror. Very important issue. Limited copies, 3 stickers inside. Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com and Save the Constitution bumper stickers. It's available right now. Probably less than 1,000 right now. Available at InfoWarsStore.com if you want to get them. And obviously the price has gone up because it's the last 1,000 of those. And I had the idea. I said, yeah, let's charge more so we can pay for stickers again, or part of the stickers again. Maybe put it in 50,000 copies with the stickers. It's so expensive in July. So again, InfoWarsStore.com. Now I'm going to go to Ironhead, Ramon, Mankind, Sean. I had a caller in France. He just hung up. Hope that caller in France gets back in. Nelson and others. The toll-free number to join us is 800-259-9231, 800-259-9231. Don't forget, I get so busy on air that I've got all these paid sponsors, you know, that get paid when I plug them. Emos on radio, they plug every segment. They're sponsors because that's where the real listenership and the real advertising is. You notice you don't hear me really do that. And I need the money to fund their operation. So just go to InfoWarsStore.com, buy the Pro Pure water filters with the Pro Pure water filters, with the Pro 1 filters with a 10% discount with promo code WATER, already off the lowest price. Go to the Seed Center, all the best brands of non-GMO, non-hybrid, open-pollinated seeds, part of Operation Johnny Appleseed 2013. Get the T-shirts, the books, the videos. Even if you're awake, get hard copies. Give them to other people. Put them on Access TV. Upload them to the web. Hit them with information warfare from every angle. Swarm attack. That's the profile. Go, 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 go. Mid-air refueling. InfoWar attack cruiser. Mid-air refueling. Energize us. Pour the money in. I just talked to Wayne Madsen. He's parking his car and going into an airport. Before he goes into the checkpoint, he'll be on for about 5-6 minutes at the start of the next segment, formerly with the NSA. He called Benghazi the week of it exactly as it happened. So did Colonel Schaefer. So did all my other guests. I mean, this was an assassination of that ambassador. And they have been caught, and I have never seen anything like this. And no wonder CNN and MSNBC cut away. We've got the live coverage at Infowars.com. I'm taking calls the whole hour. We'll get Jeffrey Smith on next week. Apologize to him, but he understands breaking news. I want to get him on next week. Great author, researcher on GMO. Or if he wants to do 5 minutes, he can do that on the march against Monsanto. But I want him on for a full hour next week. Thank you. Let's go to your phone calls right now. Ironhead in Washington, you're on the air. Go ahead.
My God, are we living in grand times or what? I mean, I think some of us were born to see when all truth shall become known, as the Master once said. Key salient points regarding this. This is roasting the pig, a.k.a. that wretched hive of scum and villainy of the old beast. But I think she's going to be the target fixation. The whole thing is going to wind up being a dog and pony show to take us in the wrong direction. You and Catherine already hit the nail on the head, that we've got to be ultra, ultra, ultra careful as to how this thing's being utilized to spin it.
Oh, they're already trying to spin it as they screwed up. They didn't screw up. They murdered this guy by ordering the stand down and gave him pinpoint intelligence on how to take him out. They were obviously trained. I mean, it probably took 2 weeks to train people how to do this. I mean, it's incredible.
Right. Now, one of the things, remember the Maine, remember the Alamo. One of the key salient points I think you could address every single show is remember Benghazi, because the key right now is to get every single person wearing a uniform to realize that they can be the dupes, the victims, and the takeouts, the cutouts. It's got to happen that everybody knows in this whole country what's going down, because as you said, this is magnanimous times more great than
well, if
Watergate.
people ask why this is happening, conservatively 35% of the military listens to this show. I've talked to hundreds of military active duty in-person officers, non-commissioned officers, grunts. They go, oh no, about 35%. Some say half. Half the people they know listen to the show and are aware. When the military and the police, the globalists haven't got the robots in charge yet who will follow orders, unquestioningly. They've still got humans. They haven't gotten even close to that conversion yet. What are they going to do when all their own people know criminals are in charge? It's game over, folks. I mean, listen, we can win when we have the initiative and have the intelligence. When you're aware of the operation, it's over. And now that the idea of false flag is out there, it's the beginning of the end for these people.
And Alex, one quick note, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Get Adam Kokesh and yourself and everybody in this country, not just Washington, D.C., the whole country, C2C, the C2C Benghazi movement. How's that sound? Where if you can't get to Washington, D.C., start in your state capital, your council, your city hall.
No, I'll say this. I mean, here's the deal. I don't come out and say have an armed march because even if it's legal and lawful in your area, they'll still trump something up sometimes and arrest you. So I've never called for one. I've talked about other people's, but when I talk about one, I always say it's dangerous. It's like filming police could be dangerous. I go out and do it, but this country's in so much trouble, you could get beat up and taken to jail, which is all the more reason you should go out and do it because it shows how far this has gone. But again, ladies and gentlemen, you've got to point out they've got the moral low ground now. And most of the police and military I talk to are finally going, all right, I apologize. You're right. My God. How did it get so bad? Look at other countries. Look at history. But I do think people in their area should organize legal, lawful, armed marches in every capital of this country. The problem is a lot of capitals violate the law, the Constitution, Bill of Rights, and say you can't do it. So check your local unconstitutional laws because they don't care. They'll still try to take you to jail. But, yes, we should have a July 4th armed marches to exercise our right or lose it. Why can government have guns? But a slave with a gun is such a shocking image. ProPure is introducing Pro One. All of your filtration in one system, portable, on the go. This is the Pro One by ProPure. You wanted it, you got it. No more do you have 2 or 3 filters to just reduce sodium fluoride. You have a system that cuts out the sodium fluoride and up to 95% of hydrofluorosilicic acid. Advanced manufacturing technology combines silver-impregnated white ceramic with new Aquamedics advanced media for removal of fluoride and other heavy metals, all in one filter element. It cuts out the acid derivative of fluoride. It is the only one that does it, and out of the gates, we have it discounted at 10% off with promo code WATER. This is the only system that in one unit helps reduce or remove pesticides, herbicides, chloramines, ammonia, and chlorine, hydrofluorosilicic acid, the most common form of fluoride not covered by other fluoride filter brands, and sodium hexafluorosilicate. This is a revolution against the tyrants. They love putting the toxic acid base of fluoride into your water. They love the fact that it's an adjuvant supercharging the trace Prozac in the water and the hormones and the other chemicals. By cutting out fluoride, you cut out the turbocharger in all the poison being artificially introduced into your body. This is what I use. It's a win-win. You get a high-quality product at the lowest price. You support the InfoWar. Get your ProPure with the new Pro One filter today at InfoWarsStore.com or by calling 888-253-3139. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back live. Thank you so much for joining us. We're into the 3rd hour. I'll probably go into overdrive today. The Benghazi hearings are ongoing. John Bound is in there watching it with headphones, taking notes. So is Kurt Nimmo. So is Adon Salazar. We know this. Wayne Madsen, who's been to Libya many times and Syria, formerly with the National Security Agency, writes for some of the biggest publications in the country, WayneMadsenReport.com. We know that Wayne came on and laid out everything that happened a week after from his sources. Then it all later got confirmed in the press. Much of what you're hearing has actually all been in the news. There were drones overhead. There was a stand down. It wasn't 2 hours. It wasn't 6. It was 8 hours from start to finish. The guys that attacked, over 400 of them, first 200, then 400, knew precision where to attack. Inside State Department info. That's the proof it was a hit, from my view. Colonel Schaefer says clearly they were trying to kill him and it was a professional hit. The question is, did some outside country fund him, or was it our government? It's the globalists. It's NATO that Obama says we're under their control. Will they stage a false flag to cover this up? This is not some controlled Iran-Contra as a political football. The congressman body language is they're all freaked out. The Republicans are like, what have we gotten into? We just want to score points, not bring down our whole criminal system. That's why they like Clinton on the sex stuff, because that's one thing that was just isolated to perjury. Not, missile secrets to China and stuff like that, that they're so much of the leadership of both parties are involved in. And I'd love to see Obama go to jail. I'd love to see him impeached. I'd love to see Hillary go to prison. That would really put a dent in the government as this big imperial thing. I hate the Clinton crime syndicate. And I'd like to see the Tea Party take over with this. But I mean, tell you, you got Cheney running defense going, oh, they're just idiots, They need to get in trouble. Yeah, blow that up so I can read those Drudge Report headlines for people. Blow that up for me right there. Yeah, go ahead and center it for me. That's the most important part for me. Okay, well, I'll punch it up on my computer. Watch this. Watch this move. The way to do it is you just go to Drudge like that, and then all I got to do is just move. Check it out. You just punch mine up. I understand your computer isn't letting you do that. And then that's out, because I just can't read it that way. Thanks, bro. There you go. Shock testimony from Benghazi witness. Moment-by-moment account of attack. Emotional recollection of murders. Congressman, death is part of life. And how do you make death part of life? Dems blame budget cuts. Yeah, I told you they didn't want money. Another vows to protect others at State Department. Fourth whistleblower blocked from testifying. Witness told not to meet with congressional investigators. You see that? That's the criminal cover-up. White House claims attempts to politicize. Well, of course. I mean, what would you do? You staged gun attacks to get our guns, you criminals. Operation Smear, already underway. Bolton could bring them down administration. Cheney rips leadership. Hillary in spotlight. Mother, I blame her. Blame Hillary. Go to Infowars.com. There's a bunch of big breaking news today, folks, that I haven't even gotten to. In fact, that's an old page. I need to hit refresh. Looks like the site's getting so much traffic, it's not coming up. I'm going to Wayne Madsen in your calls in a moment. Punch up Infowars for me so I can give people the latest headlines, please. Not my screen. Punch it up on your screen. Thank you. I'm going to have probably, the answer to this is I need 3 computers. I need 3 computers now, not one, so that no matter how bad computers are nowadays, I'll be able to do it. Okay, there they are. Rand Paul, Benghazi should end Hillary Clinton. Good, Rand Paul. Go after that witch. Latest on Benghazi. Continual live updates. Infowars.com. Judge orders conspiracy re-education for Lauryn Hill, the singer, to expose that it's all a bunch of devil-worshipping mafia, and that if you won't be evil, they don't, they kick you out. I've been told that by top insiders. I mean, they all brag about it now. And he sent her for, quote, re-education. You can't make this up. Senator Manchin, background checks, expands Second Amendment. See, that's the new spin. Oh, Obama supports the Second Amendment, he said in Mexico. Oh, what's the other guy? Bloomberg. Oh, I'm the biggest supporter of the Constitution there is. I'm the biggest supporter of the Second Amendment. That's a quote. It's all psyops. I support your right to have guns. Have them all turned in. If you can jump through 1,000 hoops on a blue moon, maybe, and give me political donations, I'll let you have a gun. We're all going to be exempt. Of course there's trapdoors. You might win the lottery. Joining us, formerly with the NSA journalist, to give us his take on what's happening. He joins us as he drives into the airport. Wayne Madsen of WayneMadsenReport.com. I just recap for some people that just joined us. How big is this? I don't see them surviving this politically. What do you expect to come out? I mean, this is seismic. If they don't all go to jail, I don't know. I mean, they're in the New York Times saying, yeah, we spy on you without warrants, get used to it. I mean, or is this just an attempt to like a pimp, dominating his property, driving us into submission? Maybe Obama will start executing children on the White House lawn with a straight razor, and he'll be given a Nobel Peace Prize for every child he beats their brains out with a ball-peen hammer. I mean, how absurdist is it going to get, Wayne Madsen?
Well, this is the 800-pound gorilla in the room. It is all about the U.S. supporting al-Qaeda in overthrowing Muammar Gaddafi. John Brennan, who was Obama's deputy national security advisor, there's now reports that he actually went to Mecca, so his name should be Al-Hajj John Brennan. He made the Hajj to Mecca. He's very pro-Wahhabi. He's now the director of the CIA. This is going to really start to bring him out, push him out of the shadows, because he supported these Libyan Islamic fighter group rebels, many of whom were Al-Qaeda veterans of Afghanistan, Iraq, where they took shots at American soldiers, by the way, blew up Americans, Iraqis, Afghans, you name it, and other allied troops in both those countries. The issue is Chris Stevens went into Libya apparently to try to get back some of the weapons used to overthrow Gaddafi, including some sophisticated weapons. But other people had ideas to take those weapons into Syria after Gaddafi. We're going to get Assad. So we've got that thing playing out. And we've got Susan Rice, of course, stating that it was all about the innocence of Muslims, that ridiculous movie trailer that was released. And, of course, the neocons were behind that, too. So what we have here, two operations, one by Brennan with his Saudi friends and his Salafist friends in Libya and Syria, and the good old neocons who were prevalent during Bush and still have some influence in the Obama administration, put movie which was intended to trigger violence all over the Muslim world. So we had a clash, not like the neocons say, a clash of civilizations. We had a clash of CIA operations.
And that just shows the lawlessness of this. Why did they order up to an 8-hour stand down, and why were they so brazen to lie about it and then have an FBI-connected group produce the fake Muhammad garbage? I mean, it just never... Where do you see this going now?
I think what we have to do is find out what loyalty John Brennan promised the regime in Riyadh, these Saudis, and also their friends and his friends in Doha, Qatar, who fund things like Al Jazeera and Current TV. Qatar is turning into a huge propaganda element in the Middle East and the Muslim world. So we've got to find out just how much of the United States Mr. Brennan has sold down the river. This guy is a knuckle-dragger. You saw him during the confirmation hearings, and then he takes the oath of office on a copy of the Constitution. This guy's a real snake in the grass.
Well, let me ask you a question. What do you expect to come out of this? Am I right in saying this is a seismic meltdown to have these people up there all admitting that it's all a lie and it was a stand down?
It could be terrible news for Hillary Clinton, who's once again they're bringing out her coronation crown for 2016. If I were Joe Biden right now, I'd be sitting back and laughing at this, and also prodding some people. Look, how can we use this to our advantage? Because it's clear that the two that are going for the Democratic nomination in 16, obviously Hillary, but I think Joe Biden has had a taste of that White House, and maybe his wife Jill has already measured the White House windows for drapes.
So you're saying Democrats could even be trying to burn Hillary down?
Oh, yeah. I think Joe Biden would like nothing more than to hurt Hillary so he can, come up in the polls. He's trailing very badly amongst Democrats, about 16%
He's a total lunatic as well. Now, but I mean, looking at Iran-Contra, looking at Nixon-type stuff, even Clinton-type stuff, I've never seen them caught in such a huge lie working with al-Qaeda. How do you expect them to get out of this? Starting a new war? Blowing something up? I mean, what do you see in your crystal ball, Wayne Madsen?
Well, I see more problems in southern Russia after the Boston Marathon bombing, and we've got CIA fingerprints all over that nice little number now. So I see them trying to divert attention away from this problem in Libya, maybe with Syria, although that gets right to the same issue, U.S. supporting al-Qaeda elements. There may be some more problems with Iran as well. I see Iran as a very nice diversion here. So that's what I'd be looking at, some big crisis with the U.S. and Iran.
I agree with you. Always penetrating analysis. Got about 30 seconds left. Any other points, Wayne Madsen?
Well, I just wanted to say I'm out here in Seattle, was at the first Wayne Madsen Report meetup, and I think we all have to organize, meet our readers. I know you do that. I've just done it for the first time, and I think we just got to get with our people and find out, you know, what kind of resources we have and march on.
That's right. We've all got to up our game because tyranny is just... Are they fleeing forward in government and corporations? It seems like they're assaulting freedom at an accelerated pace. Do you agree that that's a flight forward?
Oh yeah, we just got off the Seattle ferry, and you know they come by with the dogs sniffing. You know, there's Homeland Security people around everywhere. So even out here in the pristine Pacific Northwest, you see this over.
Oh yeah, they want to find Al-Qaeda. They just go to the Pentagon and go to the White House. Thank you so much, Wayne Madsen. Your call, straight ahead callers. You've got a business. You didn't build that. Somebody else did that. Look at this NBC headline. Human takeover by machines may be closer than we think. And it's all these top scientists warning. Oh, yeah, and the genetic engineering, all of it. I mean, and this is the plan. So now they're telling you, oh, this is just what's going to happen. That's what the globalists plan on doing. We got a different plan. I'm telling you, folks, you can kiss your kids goodbye if the New World Order comes in. I made Endgame 7 years ago and broke this down, and the media attacked me for it because I had their quotes. They would say, Alex Jones says the elite's going to kill us and take over and merge with machines and live forever. No, they say that. They say that. Let's go to your phone calls. Ramon, Mankind, Sean, Ryan, Rich, and others. And I got a bunch of other news I haven't gotten to yet. John Bound's coming in, too, with an update. It is incredible. People are trying to get away and getting carjacked, just randomly robbed because it's lawless after the takeover in Libya. And they would call back security at bases that were separate. It was like a stand down. They didn't want anybody getting out of that attack. Folks, they ran the whole thing. I mean, this is incredible. Because it's their own people. You see, you get it? Comprende? You figure that out yet? All you idiots that think the government's good? The government isn't there anymore. It's mega ruthless banks that have computers doing actuaries. God, I don't know how to explain it to you. Ramon in Florida, thanks for holding. You're on the air.
What's going on, my brother?
It's craziness.
What's going on, Alex? It's definitely crazy, but we got the smoking gun. We have live testimony. You know what I'm saying? All we have to do is just prove it to people. They always call us crazy, paranoid, conspiracy theorists, but they can't prove it. All they do is emotionally attack us. They try to appeal to people's emotions, but they never come with factual evidence. We have hardcore evidence that proves that this government is fraud. And the one before it and the one before that. It's all the same thing. The bankers are trying to take over, but they're not. It's over for them.
Well, see, what's happening is they run things and are able to rob, but they're not taking over our minds. So there's that paradox. But yeah, and now they're getting so arrogant, but it's biting them in the butt. What do you think about the Benghazi hearings?
And I think it's exactly what the soldiers are saying. They sit down. They let those people die because the people who run this government, the real owners of this land, the so-called elite, want everyone to die, whether you work for them, whether you're against them, whether you believe in what they're telling you. They want you to die. They want to kill you. They want to rape your children. If you think it's not real, go look up Alfie Hastings, representative from Florida, saying that he wants to pass a law that says it's okay to be a pedophile. It shouldn't be a crime. It should be, you should go to a doctor because it's a mental issue.
It is an army. I agree because I've studied it. And a normal person never thinks like this. They're an army of psychopaths, control freaks, child molesters. They're a legion of doom.
We're not normal, Alex. That's the thing. We have God in our heart. All these people who think they're normal, they're Satanists. They're Luciferians because anyone who doesn't have sympathy for little children getting blown up in Arab and African and Asian countries, you're not a real Christian. You're not a real Muslim. You're not a real human. We fight for freedom, liberty. That's why I support Adam Kokes. That's why I support Alex Jones. Everybody who speaks truth, everybody who's fighting this corrupt new world order, we're winning. We have their back against the wall. They're scared. There's nothing they can do. This criminal empire is over. Freedom and God has won. So everybody who's on the dark side, bye-bye. See you guys in Armageddon. When we're fighting good versus evil with God on our side, you'll see how you fail. You'll see that everybody who is speaking like Alex Jones is telling the truth. We are heroes, martyrs, libertarians, freedom fighters. You can call me crazy all you want, but I bet you I'll fight for your freedom just as hard as I will for mine.
Well, that's amazing, Ramon. God bless you. Powerful call. Long segment coming up with Sean, Rich, Mankind, Ryan. We'll get to all of you right after this break. Yeah, I see the attacks on us, which I don't mind myself personally. I really don't. In fact, at a sick level, I like it, which I've repented of, and I'm not involved in it anymore. I like to watch attacks on me, but I just don't do it anymore. It's sick. But I think it's funny at a sick level. But it does hurt me that it keeps other people who aren't sophisticated from finding the truth. I bring all these guests on, all these diverse groups, all these diverse ideas. An hour-long interview with Professor Griff, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inducted 2 weeks ago, waking up people, just what he has to say. Or Ron Paul, what he has to say. Or Sibel Edmonds, what she has to say, a whistleblower. They hate this platform. They hate a platform they don't control. They hate Drudge Report because it's a platform they don't control. They hate anything they don't control. And that's why they're always trying to say, I'm a Fed, or I'm Bill Hicks, or I'm all this crazy stuff, because the evil that's in them, not even that they're operatives, but the evil that's in them of the world makes them hate me because deep down they hate goodness. Doesn't mean I'm perfect, but my heart's good. I want to do good. Anybody who has discernment knows that. People that don't, who've woken up but are still evil, they're just flailing around infighting because they're not meant, I guess, to ever really figure it all out. It's very, very sad. Waging war on corruption, crashing through the lies and disinformation. You have found it, the very front line in the fight for human liberty worldwide. All you people that think evil's powerful, you have no idea what you're turning loose. I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, everyone that serves this system is twisted at one level or another. None of us are perfect. But the people that consciously serve this evil are buying into total oblivion because they are of their father, the devil. You know, you had that caller earlier talking about how people that don't have empathy, that say glass parking lot, all the Arabs, fake conservatives, you're really fascist. People that don't have empathy, across the board are losing their humanity. And you talk to them, they're the most empty, unhappy nobodies because you don't have the spiritual nerve endings to feel and see spiritually what's going on around you. Or you can just call it the way humans are designed. Whatever. I know I've got free will. I know I've got the seed of the universe in me. I know I'm made in the image of God. When I talk about the feeling that we've been here forever and how ancient we are, I believe we're appointed to live once. But we have in our genetic code, we have the memories of our ancestors. That's been proven across the spectrum. That's what instincts are. That's what dreams are. That's what archetypes are. And the system knows this. The only way to survive and thrive is to be a builder, is to be a giver, is to be someone that conquers their darker side and reaches for the stars. That is what God wants from you. And again, those of you that say there isn't a God, I look at the fruits of your life. I look at who you are, what you stand for, and almost unanimously, you can't even see evil. And I want you to have discernment. And I'm not on some high horse here. It's just, I want you to win. I want you to succeed. I want to succeed. My children and their children. And Professor Griff said this as well in the interview we just posted on prisonplanet.tv. Professor Griff calls on the world to unite against the New World Order. Powerful. We're going back to your calls here in a moment. Bounce coming in the next segment to give us a news update on Benghazi. But it's about the choices we make. It's about the choices all of us make that will decide the future of this world. All right, let me tell you about a few of the sponsors that make the broadcast possible, and I'm going to go right back to your calls. One of them is efoodsdirect.com/Alex to find the monthly and weekly specials. Be prepared for emergency stores for 25 years, all ready there for you when you need it. Tastes great, easy to fix, and portable. You can also make your purchases at InfoWarsShop.com. The May specials get a $200 value emergency evacuation kit with selected purchases. That's a big deal. They got other specials there at efoodsdirect.com/Alex or banners that take you to the special pages at Infowars.com, or give them a call and ask for the Alex Jones specials at 800-409-5633, 800-409-5633. Shifting gears as well, my mother's had dramatic effects. You know, Aaron Dykes lost 90-something pounds working with the longevity products. Everybody raves about them. It gives me more energy. A lot of times I'm going to work till midnight or 2 in the morning. Instead of having coffee, I have a Beyond Tangy Tangerine or a Pollen Burst Plus. There are over 350 products at InfoWarsHealth.com, all discounted. And you can get free shipping at InfoWarsHealth.com on the entire longevity line and other specials when you sign up for AutoShip. So there is a lot of stuff. You can also find out about events with Dr. Wallach and Dr. Peter Glidden and Ted Anderson and MZ and Dr. Corey Gold and Ben Fuchs, pharmacist Ben Fuchs, and Mary Lou Henner, who we're going to be getting on the show, by the way. She has that genetic memory that they say is like 1 out of 50 million. She's a listener of the show. We're going to get her in studio soon. So, and the videos are all there. InfoWars Health, a lot of news. A new study that's been out a few months now, out of the Clemson University study on a bunch of their products and what it did to cancer cells. This isn't quack stuff. And by the way, this isn't a cure because the cells just regrow somewhere else, but it certainly puts a major dent in it. We're talking about 90+% kill rates on cancer cells with Beyond Tangy Tangerine and other products. Just go check it out. It is unbelievable. The AL International announces results of longevity clinical research studies performed by Clemson University Institute of Nutritional Research. That is super prestigious. That's all linked. That study is linked. It was linked last week. Have them relink it right now on the front page of InfoWarsHealth.com. You can also find out how to be a distributor at InfoWarsTeam.com. And when you scroll down, I'm going to give them the toll-free number. Actually, I have it here on my sheet. You can also call 888-789-9277 to sign up and become a distributor, or for product orders or questions, 888-789-9277, 888-789-9277, and your purchase there makes the broadcast possible. We don't take your money with taxes and give it to MSNBC. We just, if you support us, we grow to fight them and go 110% in their face as you're witnessing. Okay, let's go to your phone calls quickly. Sean in Canada, what's your take on the huge Benghazi news that's unfolding?
Well, it's just incredible, Alex. Like you said, like Colonel Schaefer said, and God bless him, Abel Danger, and coming out about that, and 9/11. The guy's an amazing man, a true patriot. And I always say I'm rarely surprised these days, but I'm still always shocked, and I'm shocked at Hillary Clinton, and the woman just looks like she has no soul. You look in the woman's eyes, it's just icy cold blue emptiness. And I just hope and pray that this time it's going to come out, and they're going to be found out for the criminals that they are. This is just unbelievable. Hello?
No, I'm just listening to you, and while you were telling me that, I turned my mic off to tell the guys, find the clip we've played of Hillary going, what difference does it make, and bashing her hands, into the desk. What difference does it make? I mean, just absolutely outrageous to have this type of stuff going on. What difference does it make? And then you've got the other congressman up there going, well, people die. That's just the way this is. See, when it's 20 kids, they hype it up to blame us for it. But when crime rates drop 49% because of guns, they don't want to discuss it. Again, they want to personalize that we killed those kids at Sandy Hook when hundreds of thousands have been saved the last 20 years, conservatively, in the government's own report, Firearms Violence 93 to 2011, out from the Justice Department. They finally crunched the numbers that we crunched months ago. We said a 49% drop in violent crime. They have that number. A 69% in wounding shootings. A 39% in overall gun crime. And that's probably a whitewash. These are local numbers. They don't want anybody to know about this. They don't want you to know about this. And that's why I got mad at Anderson Cooper. How dare you get up here and try to connect gun owners with the killing of these kids, you bastard. You piece of trash. I mean, that guilting us, that's collectivism. Like, and arresting kids that bring a plastic butter knife to school their mom puts in their lunchbox, or taking a valedictorian's degree away because they brought a butter knife to school. They're trying to turn us into, I'm sorry, I'm ranting. Go ahead, sir.
No, that's fine. I just couldn't believe, and I was reminded of the CPS guy, long ago that came out and said, children will die. I mean, these people come out and say these absurd, horrible things.
Yeah, that was in Arkansas. They'd had 2 kids die in 1 week at one foster home, and he said, big deal, children will die.
pick and choose. It's disgusting. Anyway, and so, and everybody, you know, I hope there's as many cameras as possible in Washington for Independence Day, you know, to make sure nothing bad happens to Kokesh and that righteous movement. And just God bless you. Keep up the good fight, and I'm going to keep trying to wake up my friends. I got friends working on PhDs in political science in Oxford. You know, they think I'm crazy, and I just keep trying to feed them information calmly and you know, in small bursts, so I don't overwhelm them. And I'm plugging away, man.
Oh, yeah, they've got them just studying mindless garbage there. God bless you. I appreciate your call. Absolutely good to hear from you. Let's talk to Mankind in Arizona. You're on the air, sir.
Hey, Alex, what's up? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Yeah, I just wanted to say something about the Benghazi situation, and to all the listeners listening right now, this is it. This is a testament to how powerful our information really actually is, because I'm sitting up here watching CNN all day, and I watched, you know, the testimonies start, and as soon as the information started to pour out, they switched it real quick to the Jodi Arias and the three little girls that got kidnapped and all of that type of stuff, and they don't give them any sort of airtime when this is the biggest information that should be concerning all Americans, as a matter of fact.
And now Google is trying to keep people from going to Infowars.com. Folks, we're hurting them, but we need everybody to send Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com, and you can share your PrisonPlanet.tv memberships with up to 11 people. We need everybody to tune in, because I'm doing this to win it. I'm in it to win it. And that's why I get so much energy. That's why I get so upset, because I'm watching what you watched. I mean, I was watching an internet feed, and I watched CNN. As soon as the guy starts going, and we were ordered to stand down, and they lied, and they had the security people there, and you could see the guy was risking his life doing that, telling the truth. They cut to Anderson Cooper talking about gang violence with a package from last night, and the anchors go, oh, we're cutting away for a moment with this. You can see they're all panicking. Look, the FBI told the mainstream media, don't look at other photos, don't look at drills, don't talk to Dan Bidandi, don't go to Infowars.com. And the entire media did what they were told and came out and attacked us. Now, does that show you what a group? Let me tell you something. The U.S. military stood down when ordered to and watched all those people die, okay? But now they're not standing down. Now they're telling the truth. That's the point. When you follow the orders of criminals, you don't follow orders that are illegal. If a cop comes to your door, hypothetically, and said, line your kids up, we're going to shoot them in the head, you have a right and a duty to resist them, okay? The government is not God. You know, they say in 1984, 2 + 2 = 4. If you can say that, you're free. I say the government isn't God, and it's the problem. I say if you can say that, you're free. Anything else, Mankind?
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of further that and just really get all the listeners to know. I want everybody to get interactive, because we are the most interactive and proactive listeners that there are. Let's get this information out, because it's trying to be suppressed over the mainstream media, but we are the mainstream media, as a matter of fact. And truth is always going to come to light no matter what, so long as you do something about it.
That's right. Truth always wins if you take action. It doesn't mean you're going to survive, but it means your great-grandkids are going to have that providence. Let me tell you, the blessing that God gives families when people sacrifice that family for real causes is amazing. Give your family the blessing of a future. Even if you don't believe in the spiritual issues, it will give them a better future. Get up off your butts, folks. Don't just be spectators. Tell everybody you know about this. Tell them about the articles we've got. They have judges now ordering people to go to re-education if they talk about conspiracy theories. I mean, they say, I mean, it's just Twilight Zone. God bless you, Mankind. We're going to go to Ryan, and we're going to go to Rich and another Ryan and Eric. Before the main broadcast ends, we'll be back tonight with the Nightly News with all the info at 7 o'clock Central. But this is unbelievable. I can't believe I'm watching this happen. And I'm going to tell you, if they get away with this now, caught, John Bound, you've been writing notes on what's breaking. You just tell them about the carjacking, and then they pulled security off that. There was an order. Get these people. Don't let them get out of that compound. My God, because I guess they'd said no to giving the heat seekers. That's what Madsen and that's what Pachinik think, or what they say they know. And so they had to kill them all and still give the al-Qaeda the missiles. That's probably what it is, 90% chance, folks.
It sure sounds like it.
Yeah. So what do you got from the hearings?
Well, so far, now we've gotten deeper into the information regarding the interviews with the ARB and the inner workings of the classified interviews. There was a lawyer that was thrown out that was basically a spy that was inside of this meeting. And as soon as the lawyer was thrown out, then the State Department called and complained. They wanted somebody in there getting all this information that True American was speaking, by the way, to reveal what actually happened. And I'm speaking.
And they're threatening whistleblowers.
Yeah, and speaking of threatening whistleblowers, they've gagged a fourth one with red tape, and she has some key information. They didn't interview key people.
What did the president know, and when did he know it?
We don't know that yet. It hasn't gotten that far yet.
No, I know, but that's from Nixon.
It's climbing into Hillary, and like you go back to that statement she made. What difference at this point does it make? Was it because of a protest, or was it because of guys out for a walk one night who decided they go kill some Americans? What difference at this point does it make? It's our job to figure out what happened and do everything we can to prevent it from ever happening again. Well, they could have prevented the whole thing from happening in the first place, and they know it, and they had something going on where they made sure that there was no security. There were carjackings of the people that were working there. They pulled that security detail off. They left them 2 guys underneath Ham's authority. And then there were another 2 guys that were there, security detail, and they don't even know whose authority they were under. So they had nobody. And they're in the middle of a war zone. They're being carjacked. You add security detail.
And by the way, guys, did we find the Hillary clip of what difference does it make? Okay, we have that clip? The whole clip, or just the... All right, well, we'll isolate the part where she says that. I want to play it the next segment, because I have a clip. It's 6 minutes long, but isolate that. Oh, we have a 1-minute section. Let's play that. Play that as soon as you're ready. Okay, let's go ahead and go to Hillary. And then you've got Elijah Cummings saying, people die. Yep. It's like, you killed those 20 kids, America. Turn your guns in. But then people die.
Get used to it, America. Fall asleep. Lay down on the ground. Forget about your rights. Be a complete sheep, a total tool to this mafia that is in control of your destiny and your children's destiny. Wake up. Sorry. I was listening to NPR this morning because I turned it on. I want to hear somebody talk about Benghazi because this was going to happen today. And 30 minutes went by, and they're talking about some rapper that got sexually assaulted. Like, I even cared. And nobody cares about this. How long can you talk about something like that? But they're clearly not going to talk about Benghazi, the key issues.
Why are they buying billions of bullets, armored vehicles? Why are they saying veterans are the #1 terrorist? I mean, we're in a Twilight Zone episode. And they're the bad guys. Let's go to this clip with Hillary. Here it is.
I just want to say that, people have accused Ambassador Rice and the administration of, misleading Americans. I can say, trying to be in the middle of this and understanding what was going on, nothing could be further from the truth. Was information developing? Was the situation fluid? Would we reach conclusions later that weren't reached initially? And I appreciate the...
Madam Secretary, do you disagree with me that a simple phone call to those evacuees to determine what happened wouldn't have ascertained immediately that there was no protest? I mean, that was a piece of information that could have been easily obtained.
Well, but Senator,
within hours, if not days.
Senator, when you're in these positions, the last thing you want to do is interfere with any other process going on.
I realize that's a good excuse.
Number two, no, it's the fact. Number 2, I would recommend highly you read both what the ARB said about it and the classified.
We're going to come back with the actual clip.
Do you understand how dark it is? How far down the line we are? How late it is?
Noah Webster said he would never surrender, a founding father, and he said before a standing army can rule, the people must be disarmed. Noah Webster. And when we try to send that meme photo painting of him with that text out on Facebook, they block it everywhere. And that's what the future web's going to be like. You're not going to be able to get to Infowars.com. We're not going to be able to use YouTube or Facebook. We're using it now against them. And they're going to block you going to our sites. So use them now against the enemy so they never get to that point. This is an occupational government. We're going to go into overdrive for at least 30 minutes in the next hour. Some stations carry it. If not, audio and video feeds at Infowars.com/show or Infowars.com/listen. And at the end of the show today, we're going to email out to everybody that signed up at Infowars.com/newsletter the digital copy with live links and everything to the May issue of the magazine. It's been sent out once, but some of you didn't see it and have been asking for it. We're going to send it out this afternoon again to everybody signed up to the free email newsletter alert area. We send out exclusive videos, you name it, Infowars.com/show or Infowars.com/newsletter to sign up to get the magazine free. We're going to go into overdrive, take your calls. I'm going to get to everybody, but we were about 5 seconds too late because I went to the clip late. We led up to him questioning Hillary about what happened, and she said, hey, she said, this is what she had to say about the dead people there, and now Cummings says people will die. This is just part of it. You know, big deal. Of course, he would squeal and beg for his little disgusting life. So let's go ahead and go to this clip.
With all due respect, the fact is we had 4 dead Americans. Was it because of a protest or was it because of guys out for a walk one night who decided they'd go kill some Americans? What difference at this point does it make?
You sent them to kill them.
It is our job to figure out what happened and do everything we can to prevent it from ever happening again, Senator. Now,
like honestly, Oklahoma City?
I will do my best to answer your questions about this, but
get her off the screen. Get her off the screen. See, they can't intimidate everybody. They can't shut us all up. You understand? We're not shutting up. John Bound, you're going to be hosting his maiden voyage. Like, we'll stick you right here in this seat, brother.
Sounds good.
All right, I want you to go over everything you've researched. I'll go get more. I'll bring it in for an update at the end, and then tonight, Nightly News, you're going to be co-hosting with Rob Dube.
Yep.
Okay, and I'm going to shoot some other special reports. But this is just wild. Let's go to a phone call right now. Ryan in Michigan on Benghazi. Thanks for holding her on the air.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Alex? All right.
Yes.
I just want to say one thing right quick. There's 3 types of people out there. There's bronze-souled people, and they just want the fruits of life. You know, they just want to sit in their house, have a beer, and sit down. And then there's silver-souled people, and that's the warriors and fighters, okay? And then there's the golden-souled people out there, and that's the philosophers and thinkers and creators. And I think that's what our founding fathers were, and that's what we really need to strive to be, okay? And having said that...
Well, I'd say there's a lot of alloys, and then what group is evil? Do you have something to say about Benghazi? We're talking about Benghazi.
Yeah, I don't see this Benghazi situation really changing anything, just because it's not in the people's face, and it's not going to change their way of life.
Listen, I disagree with you, and I appreciate your call. We're going to come back, take more calls, and John Bound's going to take over for a couple segments here, breaking down all the notes and articles he's got. The latest is all being updated at Infowars.com. Nothing will ever change if we don't believe it would. I'm not a crook. We said, yeah, you are a crook. You've got to get angry about this, and you've got to point out they're a bunch of liars. Our government thinks you're so dumb, they run Al-Qaeda. When the TSA wants to search, you go, man, knock it off. Government runs Al-Qaeda. You're probably with them. In fact, they even had a big study out last week that TSA is the greatest security threat. The government's the threat. They're the problem, to quote Ronald Reagan.
Thank you for listening to GCN. Visit GCNlive.com today.
Introducing Pro One. All of your filtration in one system, portable, on the go. No more do you have 2 or 3 filters to just reduce sodium fluoride. You have a system that cuts out the sodium fluoride and up to 95% of hydrofluorosilicic acid. Advanced manufacturing technology combines silver-impregnated white ceramic with new Aquamedics advanced media for removal of fluoride and other heavy metals, all in one filter element. It is the only one that does it, and out of the gates, units. We have it discounted at 10% off with promo code WATER. This is the only system that in one unit helps reduce or remove pesticides, herbicides, chloramines, ammonia, and chlorine, hydrofluorosilicic acid, the most common form of fluoride not covered by other fluoride filter brands, and sodium hexafluorosilicate. Get your Pro Pure with the new Pro 1 filter today at InfoWarsStore.com or by calling 888-253-3139.
Coast to coast, direct from Austin. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
All right.
Big Brother. Mainstream media.
Yep.
Government cover-ups.
You want answers?
You want answers?
Well, so does he.
Well, so does he.
He's John Bowne.
He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
And now,
live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
All right, my final segment here live. Then John Bowne is going to take a few segments longer if he needs it. But Nightly News is coming up. He's going to be co-hosting that on Benghazi. I may just have to come in and host part of the news, too. I know you and Dew are already ready to do it, but this is so important. I'll probably shoot a video just commenting on the whole thing in general. But I want to take a few more calls, and John will continue with your calls as well after he covers some of the news and the updates on this. But you got Elijah Cummings. We haven't played this clip yet. Going, life is part of, death is part of life, but life's also part of death. You got to get used to this. See, we only care about life when we say, when we're blaming you for a mass shooting a Prozac head's involved in, you need to take the blame for that. But only care when we say, you got how this works now? You got how this works? My life matters because I'm a bucket of scum, corrupt globalist. Your life doesn't matter because you're a slave. And that's what's going on here. And Hillary's like, what difference does it make what killed people? Next time, you murder somebody, just go, what difference does it make who killed him? Cops show up to your house, there's a dead body, and go, they're like, well, what happened? Where were you? Are you involved? What difference does it make? Well, this person's been stabbed to death. What difference does it make? Next time cops pull you over and you had 15 drinks, you can hardly walk, and they're like, all right, it looks like you're drunk, reckless driving here.
What difference does it make?
What difference does it make? I'm going to quote Hillary Clinton. And they're doing this more and more, John, where they just say, big deal. It's like the Travis County DA, totally drunk, out of her mind, driving the wrong way. And they're like, what? It's not a big deal when she does it.
No, she's in charge. She's large and in charge.
I think we ought to give her a red carpet. I think we should have human sacrifices every day to every government official, like the Aztecs had.
We should pick a name out of a hat. Just have a daily sacrifice. It's kind of
we could put you on a jetpack like Logan's Run and catapult you up in the air and then just have laser beams blow you away.
Yeah. We could shot put people like in that Mel Brooks movie.
Oh, yeah, like It's Good to Be the King?
The poor are revolting. They certainly are, sir.
He goes, pull! And for shotgun, it's a poor person catapulted.
I promise I'm going to stay serious, though.
All right. Danny, you are, Danny?
I am. No, actually, I'm
going. Hello, Mr. Gopher. Let's jam in Rich in Colorado. You're on the air. What do you make of this whole Benghazi? I think they may stage a false flag on us. What do you think?
Well, Alan, what I was thinking when you said that, the first thing that I thought about was they would divert our attention using the stock market. Maybe crash the market or something. Take it down. Everybody's all happy with the performance that's been taking place over the last several months, and it's that alone has diverted a lot of attention from things that have been taking place. And they have that trump card they can play at any time. Whether they're going to play it now or not, I don't know. Another thing that was interesting, you talk about the mega ruthless banks. Bank of America came out and said they didn't have a single losing day the first quarter of this year, and they made over $100 million on 7 days of the first quarter of this year.
When you get hundreds of billions of dollars of tax money, everything's pretty good.
Yeah, all that drug money.
Yeah. So, just a thought.
Well, these people are out of control. The issue is they're a bunch of crooks. They're out of control, and they don't even cover their butt anymore. And then they just think they're going to have Homeland Security march around and declare us all terrorists when they're the terrorists. I mean, you guys run Al-Qaeda. Next time I fly, man, I'm just going to, tell them, I'm like, I am sick of your crap treating me like I'm a suspect when your bosses carried out 9/11, Oklahoma City, and everything else, and Benghazi. I'm sorry, go ahead, sir.
No, I hear you. I hear you, and keep up the good work. It's great listening to you, and I've been a loyal listener for a couple of years now, and I really enjoy it.
Well, God bless you. We're going cheerfully forward into the face of the New World Order, in, through, and beyond, into the black hole, and pray for us. Hey, we're not going away. Audio, video streams, email them to your friends and family. That's how we grow.
As we saw in Katrina, and as we are watching now in New York and New Jersey, the federal government can't and won't help you in a crisis. FEMA ran out of water and MREs in days. Electricity is still off to over 1 million people. The Red Cross, who is quick to beg for money, is now slow to react. Don't put it off any longer. Get prepared today. While you're on InfoWarsShop.com, check out these other great preparedness items. The Aquapod Kit lets you store up to 65 gallons of water in your bathtub. The Pocket Socket provides you with manual electricity for small electronics like your cell phone. The Life Straw is great for your bug-out bag. And check out our complete line of Interfood products for great tasting and nutritionally dense foods that have a great shelf life. If you are looking to secure your home in a crisis, you can order Strategic Relocations, the film, a great companion to the book Strategic Relocations 3rd edition, and The Secure Home by Joel Skousen. When the time to perform arrives, the time to prepare has already passed. Get prepared now, so if a crisis strikes your home, you and your family will be secure. Go to InfoWarsShop.com.
All right, thanks for joining us, folks. This is John Bound. I'm hosting the overtime portion of the Alex Jones Show, and this is my maiden voyage. I appreciate you sticking around. We are going to cover the Benghazi debacle. Now, 8 months has gone by since the folks were murdered heinously. 4 Americans were killed in Benghazi. And even the mother of one of the of Smith, one of the folks that was killed in Benghazi, is saying that Hillary Clinton, she's pointing directly at Hillary Clinton and saying she is responsible. She's the one that killed my son. So why is she saying that? Well, today we had Hicks, and we also had Nordstrom, and we had another gentleman named Thompson, and they were speaking with the group there investigating the entire debacle that happened in Benghazi. And Hicks was very forthcoming with the situation, having undergone immense reparations for his involvement with speaking the truth, and also undergoing a lot of before the events happened, he was involved in a carjacking, and rather than adding security detail in order to make him safer and to make the rest of them safer in Benghazi, they took detail away. And then once they were under attack, they called various locations, AFRICOM. There was an outpost in Italy that could have sent F-14s out. And if an F-14 had been scrambled over the embassy, that would have told the Libyan terrorists that this is a no-go. We need to back off. We need to get out of here. All they needed was a plane to show up to show that there was some kind of force that would be used to keep them away, but they couldn't even do that. They were told to stand down, and now more information is coming out, and it's slowly leading up to Miss Hillary Witch Clinton, which is very interesting, the word witch. If you want to research her roots to the occult, you're gonna find some interesting stuff as well. But side issue, Hillary is now gonna have to answer to these emails that have been declassified, and really, why would she go on the stand and say, what difference does it make? What difference does it make that people died, that 4 people died? Well, that's not exactly what she was saying, of course. But what difference does it make? The facts. What difference does it make that we have to look at the truth, that we have to investigate what went on? Who said stand down? Who said lessen the security detail, take away the troops there in Benghazi. What difference does it make? What difference does it make that years ago people died in her office and she rifled through her desk just hours later and covered the entire thing up as well? What difference does it make? She's in charge. She's large and in charge. So that's the only difference that anything makes, is that Hillary Clinton is in charge. So let's take a look at some of these headlines as the stabilized situation through their lies and deception slowly crumbles in front of them. In context, Hillary Clinton, what difference does it make? Comment is now coming to the fore. Mail Online is saying Dick Cheney slams Obama administration's Benghazi performance as a failure of leadership, and he can't understand why they weren't ready. Well, folks, that's what it comes down to. I think the past few months we've all looked at, we've seen Benghazi on TV, and it's been kind of a foreign, it happened in a different country. The details aren't that clear. It doesn't, what's the deal with Rice saying that it may have been a protest, and was it a terrorist act? Is that really important? What's the difference, right? Well, the difference is that there were people with key information that were told to stand down. They were told not to report what they knew. And there was a lot of information behind the scenes that happened before the event even occurred that is now coming to light. We have Democratic Congressman Elijah Cummings making this bizarre statement about death is a part of life and life is a part of death. And this culture, this death culture that we're living in now, where we have all these false flag attacks on our own children here in the United States, in movie theaters, this false flag culture that we live in, that now death is a part of life. Life is a part of death. So get used to it. Just continue to look at that flickering rate on your TV screen and get used to it. Just fall asleep. Okay, we have to protect our fellow employees, said a Democratic congressman. The Benghazi whistleblower chokes Nordstrom. Actually, it says he didn't choke. He choked up. They were incredibly affected by this because they were in the middle of it. And an interesting part of this testimony today was the fact that a lot of the representatives that were interviewing Nordstrom and Hicks had experienced similar detail themselves in other countries. So, they knew the situation. Let's take a caller. Let's go to, what is this, Dean in California? Is that right?
Yes, hello?
Hey, Dean, how's it going? This is John Bound filling in for Alex Jones today.
John, just great. Congratulations on sitting in the big chair. I've been watching for a couple of years now. I've been watching the hearings all morning, and it's kind of confusing. I'm watching Mr. Nordstrom and Mr. Hicks talk, and it seems like they say everything up to the point of actually making a direct accusation to who was responsible, other than, at a certain level, responsibility is above somebody and above. And it seems like some of the people doing the questioning are, I don't know, less than enthusiastic about actually getting to the truth. So it's been an interesting watch, because occasionally they'll say something that should be a bombshell, but it's because it seems like such a stilted, kind of dry, question and answer. It just kind of slips under the radar. Like when they asked Mr. Nordstrom, okay, when you go into an embassy, there has to be a sign-off for it to be legal, or there's a legal set of guidelines as to when a building can be occupied, and who has to sign off on that? Well, the Secretary of State, which would be Hillary Clinton. They just kind of breezed right over that. So it's just been very interesting watching.
Well, yeah, I think they're setting it up for more testimony. They're going to roll out even more whistleblowers, supposedly, the next week or so. So hopefully this evidence, because there were a lot of, it is a bit confusing because there were statements. I don't know if you noticed, one of the representatives was saying that there was a statement made, and then they weren't sure if that statement was made at all. And then they had to go check the records. And then Mr. Hicks hasn't been able to get to all of the records of his testimony. So they said, you made this statement here. And then he said, well, I don't recollect making that statement there. So, yeah, it is a bit confusing, but I think they're chipping away at a big stone. But the evidence that we need is what was in that embassy. What did Stevens have as far as his information on the weapons that they may have had, and also the financial information regarding Libya that they may have had, because the United Nations is heavily involved in this whole process in the Middle East. So really, this is a cover-up here in America. As we turn on the news and we see the coverage of the girls that were finally rescued in Cleveland, and then there's a big story now about some murder trial, and that's what interests the American public are these human stories. But it's not the political stories that really interest anybody anymore, because they've spent so much time and so much money on making sure that we ignore the political side of things, that here we have a bona fide mega Watergate situation in our day right now. This makes Watergate look like Cub Scouts. That was nothing. I am not a crook. All right, well, take a hike. Well, there's a lot of people up there on Capitol Hill that need to take a hike for a lot of good reasons. Anything else, caller?
Well, I've noticed I've been following the Clintons for quite a long time, and there was actually an interesting documentary that was put together some years ago, and it was basically about how bad it was for your health to be associated with the Clintons over time, whether it was through disagreement or just political expediency. There was, at the end of the video, as they documented throughout the course of it, something like, 24, 36, 40, I don't remember the exact number of people ended up dying by, for lack of a better term, a hunting accident, that were direct, confidants, friends, whatever you want to call them, of the Clintons. So it seems that any time your political expediency is needed, it's really bad for anybody's health that's involved. In this case, 4 people in Benghazi.
Yeah, there are a lot of people that have died around the Clintons. I think the worst one that I'm aware of are the kids that died at the railroad track after having seen the drug shipments come in for
really
Bill Clinton.
Amazing is at the end of the video that I saw, the documentary, the filmmaker died like a week after he completed it, of similar causes to some of the other.
Death's a part of life, and life's a part of death. And when it comes to the Clintons, that is probably their motto. That's probably hanging on their wall, and Cummings was just in there having a drink. We'll be right back after this break, but we'll take more calls, and we'll look at Benghazi, and we'll look at some of the other headlines here on the Alex Jones Show. I'm John Bound, filling in. Well, Representative Elijah Cummings from Maryland, Democrat of Maryland, said it best. He said it very cogently. Death is a part of life. Life is a part of death. And here we live in this culture of death where we actually, our entertainment now is death. We used to live in an ethical society where people gave you the shirt off their back, tried to help you out. We had a war effort where everyone banded together, gave up their small businesses to defend America. And now who's defending America? Some shadow government called the United Nations on the offense against America, with an elite troop called Al-Qaeda that is completely commanded by our commander-in-chief, who will be here in Austin tomorrow, by the way. Here's just to give you an example of the culture of death that we live in. And, let's do a little test here. I'm going to read this headline, and let's see how much it affects you, because it affects me. It makes me sick to my stomach, and it should make you sick to your stomach. But this is the culture of death. All right, here's the headline. LifeNews.com. ironically enough. Late-term abortion doc caught comparing unborn baby to meat in a crock pot. Now, this late-term abortion doc, back in the day, would have had the tar beat out of him. He would have been tarred and feathered and taken down to the square and, would have had to have answered for saying something like this. But now it's just another headline in our culture of death, our ongoing culture of death. Here's John Bolton. Shifting gears a little bit here. Here's John Bolton saying that Benghazi could bring down the Obama administration. Well, don't you think it's time for the Obama administration to go down? We've got the NDAA, which says that he can come here and take me out anytime he wants. We've got drones being put in the skies by this culture of death government. We have spokesmen out there right in the middle of a hearing saying that death is a part of life. Life is a part of death. We've endured 9/11. We've endured Sandy Hook. We've endured Aurora, just to mention a few. It's been a whirlwind. It's been a roller coaster past few years in a culture of death. Let's take some more calls regarding the culture of death. Here is, what do we have? Eric in Tennessee?
Yes.
Hey, go ahead, Eric. What's on your mind?
I'm mad as hell.
And you're not going to take it anymore.
I am not going to take it anymore. You remember the old Twisted Sister song?
Yeah.
We're not going to take it.
Yeah.
Actually, my wedding anniversary is the 4th of July. Chose to get married on the 4th of July. I mean, it's a special day for me.
Absolutely. You married the country simultaneously. You killed two birds with one stone.
Absolutely. Of course, I want to wish my wife a happy anniversary. She's going with me. We're going to D.C. We're going to walk across that bridge.
Well, God love you and God bless you, and may Providence look over you.
Thank you, brother. Now, as far as the headlines go, I mean, I'm literally shaking at this point from everything that's going on today. Ever since I started listening to Alex, it's been an awakening is the word that everybody uses, but it's more like
an angering,
being shaken awake from a nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
And realizing that the nightmare is real. It's like dreaming that your house is on fire and waking up and that it's actually on fire,
Yeah. Yeah. Very good analogy.
Hillary Clinton, man, I think when you're talking about giving her a red carpet, I think we should give her a blue dress every day.
Why is that?
Just the blue dress, the Monica dress.
Oh, yeah.
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 Just so she can remember a little bit of pain every day. Maybe she'll feel something at that point. When you look in her eyes, she's dead. I mean, there's nothing there.
Well, and that's what we see as Americans. When we see Hillary Clinton, we see this facade of this political wife who's risen from poverty, into this world atmosphere, and she's doing this great American deed by, doing what she does. But there is beyond a dark side to Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton. It's Jeffrey Dahmer level stuff. And those are the people that are... Jeffrey Dahmer is running our country. Now, what if I said that? Would that shock you, America, that Jeffrey Dahmer is running our country? Because that's what we're talking about. Is that okay with you? That Jeffrey Dahmer is running our country. How's that feel? President Dahmer.
Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.